good faith, then I'm not going to have any problem
I'm
with
going to
it.
try to ask everything in good faith. I have had issues with people thinking I'm not in good faith when I am. So if I say something or bring something up that you just don't want to talk about, I like just tell me. Like I don't want to do the thing where
Sure.
if you say I don't want.
This setting the tone is actually really effective. He comes out of the gate saying like I'm going to try to be empathetic towards you, and then he's trying very. I don't know if he listens to anything that I say or if he's just figured this out on his own. But this idea here of like out the gate being like, hey, how personal do you want to go? Okay, well, hey, if you feel like I'm being too personal, just let me know. If you feel like I'm trying to gotcha, just let me know. I want blah blah blah. You can see that like these are learning from the mistakes of like Lawrence Southern, where he gets very personal, doesn't give her way out, or Vosh, where he tried to talk to him, but Vosh like clearly wasn't ready to go into like hard questions related to like age of consent or child, porn or whatever, right? He's doing a really good job at setting a proper expectation at the beginning here and coming across, even if he's not going to be good faith, at coming across as good faith. This is a really good job here.
Want to answer that, then I'm like smirking and I'm like, oh well, of course he doesn't want. Like I don't want to do that shit.
Right. 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 No, I understand. No, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't really have anything to hide, and there's some there's some things that are just kind of nasty and personal, or so on, that have been made public to some degree, or there are rumors about it, or insinuations or vague accusations, and I'd rather not just like delve into those things.
Okay.
But
So
yeah.
if I do, just let me know.
Sure.
Your David Pakman interview.
Mm.
Did you remember that?
I definitely remember doing it. I remember a few moments from that.
Yeah,
remember a
he
few
was
moments from
he
that.
was a dick.
I don't remember it that way, actually. I don't think it was the worst.
Maybe you're used to it.
I am used to it. I mean, I think when I make a little bit of a breakthrough with a liberal, I think I count it as a win.
Oh, okay, I see. He was less of a dick than you thought he was going to be. So it's your bar is very low.
A bit. I don't remember him being the biggest dick, to be honest. But maybe
Okay.
What is it? As time goes on, the past becomes more golden and the future becomes more gray, or whatever
Oh,
line
the
from
coronavirus
Watchmen.
is taking over, guys.
I love Watchmen. It's my favorite book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not my favorite. It's definitely up there, though. I think it's a great graphic novel, and I thought Zack Snyder's movie wasn't faithful in some ways, but I think
No.
it's very, very cool in other
It was
ways.
cool,
So
but
I
it was
liked
not. It did not capture the magic.
Uh-huh. Yeah. There are a couple of things I could go into with it. I think he kind of gentiled Watchmen in a way. It's kind of more interesting when those characters are Jewish.
Jesus Christ. Spencer. There were so many ways that we could have dog whistled this effectively. Not even dog whistle, but just been a little bit more subtle. But okay, fuck it, right out the gate. All right.
It's
How
Zack
so?
Snyder. Well, I mean, I think it adds another layer that was intended by the author. And Zack Snyder, in his way, took that layer away. But, I still think I actually like Zack Snyder a lot. I like his films.
I like half of his films.
Mm.
Some of them are pretty bad, I think. They all look
Yeah.
great, though.
Yeah, and they're kind of bombastic and 80s montage.
Yeah.
I thought Man of Steel was a really good movie, although I didn't like it when I first saw it. But I appreciated it later for what he was trying to do, full on Jesusification of Superman. And I liked the Snyder Cut, which I saw recently. And I think some of his movies are maybe almost like, I saw his zombie film on Netflix, and it was, I don't know, kind of bubblegum, like I don't really remember anything about it. It was just Zack Snyder, amazing shots and bombastic action, but no there really. But I think he's an
the
interesting
same way. But you were born the same year as Richard Donner's Superman.
That is true. Is it 1978? Is that when that movie came out?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is that has to be you do like that better than Man of Steel, right?
No, no, I think I would prefer Man of Steel.
Wow.
But I
Okay.
do like Donner's film.
Well,
It's a good
that's
movie.
the most upsetting view I've ever heard you espouse. Um,
And hopefully this interview will be good then, if that's the most upset I make you.
no, it won't. It's going to be ugly, but you just are underestimating how upsetting that is. Um, do you know anything about me?
I know a little bit about you. I've watched some videos of yours from YouTube.
Okay.
And yeah, I would say that one of them that I watched was quite negative, but and I've seen you know, gotten into discussions with Vouch and Destiny, kind of from that world.
Vouch.
Yeah.
Why do people
Again,
call him
I
Vouch?
take every
Are they trying to troll him, or are
one
they?
as they are? You know, it doesn't matter in a way where you're coming from. It's how you're speaking to me right in this moment. Can I have a conversation with you? So
all
it's
right, cool.
not a big deal.
Thanks. Okay, so in kind of broad strokes, my understanding is
Why did I come here? I didn't need to.
that
come
your
here. I just
stance
realized that. Fuck.
is that anti-white sentiment is on the rise. It is actually this was your stance. I don't know if you still are aligned with this, but I'm going to try to, in broad strokes, say my understanding.
Sure.
Anti-white sentiment is on the rise. It's basically okay to hate white people in progressive or liberal like culture. It's okay to discriminate against white people in certain situations. And you're disturbed by this. You want an ethno-state at some point down the line, as do many other races, in your view. In Israel
Right.
for white people.
Okay. I mean, do you want me to go? Because I feel like I don't disagree profoundly with anything what you just said. I think that I would have some more nuanced takes
Yeah, of course.
on all of those things.
Yeah, I know.
And I think there's also a tendency, I mean, it's less so now. Now the spotlight's not on me, and I'm able to dilate on things and be kind of self-critical and maybe question presumptions that I had. But you know, when people got to know me in 2016 and 2017, it was exactly as you say. You know,
Okay.
it was like white people were rising up. We've had enough. We're not going to take it anymore.
We are
And
not gonna
Trump is our
take it.
existentialist president, basically.
Right.
You know, that's what you said is fair. I would bring a lot of nuance to all of those things that you just said, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Because in many ways, we hate ourselves more than anyone else hates us. But
Okay.
go on.
White people?
Yes, I think the white guilt complex is profound, and we can't really understand these questions without addressing that. But
Yeah, that disturbs me, and I don't like. Okay, so I'm very anti-identitarian. I would say that is probably the biggest break that I have with you.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm from Amherst,
Mm-hmm.
and
More like and.
I feel like you probably know.
I'm sorry. That was
what that
bad.
means.
I'm done. I'm sorry.
Oh yes, I visited Amherst back in my high school days. And,
I can't think of a town that would hate you more than Amherst. Right? Like I feel like
right.
there's
But then in a weird way, is there a town like I'm at home in those places as well? You know?
Yeah, because they're very identitarian too.
Well, they're identitarian, but I'm not talking about ideology. Like just in the kinds of places where I would like to live, and
college,
where I would,
New
where I
England
would
college town.
appreciate, yeah, where I would appreciate the little cafe and appreciate the used bookstore and appreciate the kind
I used to work at the used
historical
bookstore.
preservation. Yeah, I think that's one of the places where I would actually feel at home in a weird way. But I take your
It's a very American place.
Yeah.
If American places can be more or less American. So
Yeah.
I was raised to believe that diversity is good, racial identification is bad, and then quickly accept when black people do it. Then it's okay. And when Jews do it, an ethno-state is okay. So my reaction to that was to say, well, I don't think any of it's okay. So I'm anti-identitarian across the board.
That's
I don't
fair
want to be
and consistent.
Yeah, I don't want to be part of a group. I don't want to be in the club. I don't want to be in the club with other Jews or fucking anybody. I don't want to be a Democrat. I feel I'm anti like faction basically.
Aren't you going to get bulldozed with that attitude, though? Because at the end of the day, we live in a society and we live on a planet. We live in
shit. He's making the arguments, but he's prepared, okay? Mr. Girl's prepared for these, right?
a world of groups, and groups dominate. And so even if you, and I actually take you at your word, I think you sincerely believe that. But is that really a good choice? You know?
No.
And are
Not
you
really.
kind of, is that a kind of
he's just gonna
luxury
bite
that
all the
you
bullets.
have
Yes.
as an American in the 21st century?
Not just
And
as an American, but as me
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
I think that I'm able to intermingle very successfully with different groups of people. Probably I can read people very well and communicate with people very well, and I don't get along with everybody, but I don't really need the sort of like buffer that being part of a group gives you.
Mm-hmm.
And I also am willing to, like you, absorb large amounts of vitriol from any limit, more people than there are on Earth. So I'm fine with that. So I'd say those two things, those make me privileged in a way,
Mm-hmm.
where I don't need a group, and so I understand why other people would want one or might need one, but also we're all going to get bulldozed. So I view it as what do you want to be doing? What do you want this smear on the pavement after the bulldozer goes over you? What shape would you like it to be? And to bring us back to Watchmen, you know, when you get exploded in the snow, what do you what
Happy smiling face? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
so like
I'm more interested in being the person who's driving the bulldozer over you.
yes,
That's kind of
absolutely. I see you have a very dog eat dog world view.
It's about winning. I mean, whatever you want to say about Trump, and I totally rejected Trump, but
You like the
I
winning
think
part,
they're
though.
well, yeah. I mean, that's what life is about.
It's about winning.
It's about winning, and it's you work within a group to the extent that that group is going to gain more power and have dominate other groups. And if you're not in this to win it, if you're not in this to ultimately dominate the entire planet, then what are we doing really talking about
Getting
politics?
dominated.
Because politics isn't consensual. It's not art. Politics is about the domination of the physical world, and in some ways the mental and spiritual world as well. I mean, I hate to put it in such brutal terms, but that's
I don't know if you
what it's
do.
about.
I feel like you sort of do like putting it in brutal terms. I don't quite believe you there. Because it's provocative. I think you enjoy the provocation of putting it in brutal terms.
Sure.
Yeah. I see what I there is an annoying duality to America's view of itself in the world, where we're going to build an empire and rule the world basically with an iron fist, but also then say that we love everybody equally and everybody deserves human rights and blah blah blah. But
Yes.
if you fuck with us, we'll just drop unthinkably horrible bombs on your country.
Yes, and additionally, I think the individualism and true diversity, which you seem to believe in, and I actually think you are genuine, it's not so much an ideal as it is a management strategy, in the sense that this is the tact that America has used to manage an empire and ultimately dominate the planet, which it does and has done for my lifetime, and will do, I think, for probably maybe my whole lifetime. I don't think it's all coming down tomorrow morning, but who knows? But you have to understand it as a kind of management strategy and not as an actual ideal.
Wait,
and
but
I guess
what if it isn't? What, for me, it is an ideal though.
Right, but you're just kind of deluded by what other people tell you.
And you're not?
I
mean, aren't we?
Sure,
aren't we all?
we're all influenced. That was a bit harsh statement, but you're taking their rhetoric seriously, and I don't take their rhetoric seriously.
I take it as gospel.
Right. That's an interesting choice of words.
I'm a fanatic. It's a religion. I concede this.
Right.
There are well, but I think you might be too. But I think there are.
At the same time, I kind of disobey it. Like I see it for what it is, but I want something more. So in that sense, I too am an idealist. I just feel like there's the kind of cost, civilizational cost, that has occurred due to America's history and its founding. Its founding impulses, which I think were uniquely bad, and you can see those in the founding documents, which I totally reject.
What, equality?
From
the
philosophically
equality part?
speaking, yeah. Declaration of Independence, quite bad, but also just the kind of clockwork mechanism of the state. It doesn't describe any state in existence. And this kind of, cutesy Hobbesian notion.
Well, it's a dream.
Actual...
It's called the American dream for a reason.
Right. Yeah. Never connected to reality.
Well,
but
it's something to strive for.
Things.
Yes.
Is it though? Like, is it actually that great? The other aspect of the American, situation was so problematic, was just the large population of religious fanatics, Calvinists in particular, who made up the population. And I think that led to a certain type of American type. I think they're kind of like two American types, one which I like and the other which I despise. There is the American type of the frontier that had to go out into space and kind of go reduce civilization in a way, like move from a European society of trains and hop into a canoe, and in a way become a savage as a way of progressively moving outward in this continent. There is something about the West and so on that I do have a romantic fascination with and that I love. I do think that there is a peculiar type of American puritanical school marm, or just moralist, an anti-intellectual moralist, that is kind of descended from the John Winthrop types, and a deeply egalitarian moralist. So there's a new hierarchy based on your Puritanism or your morality that I just despise. And I think that was the real founding of America came on a ship with John Winthrop. Even before he set foot on America, he had already imagined it. And
wait, you can I ask a question about you despising it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You definitely despise hypocrisy. I sense that.
Yes.
You also despise unrealistic idealism?
Not necessarily. I have a certain fascination with real idealists who are trying to advance civilization. No, I despise the Puritan attitude that has really inflected American thinking in ways that I don't think we fully understand. I think someone like Elizabeth Warren is a deeply American type, and probably genetically related to Calvinists who came here. America, it was this, like, in some ways, like, if you could survive the West, the frontier, there was a selection process going on. And I think in many ways it selected for a good type, a kind of hardened badass who was very cooperative, was an individualist of sorts, but was very cooperative. I also think there was a kind of selection that took place in America with the original founding Puritans. And they do believe in the gospel. And they are egalitarian. There's a new kind of, they're a priestly type. as well. And yes, I absolutely despise those people. I don't think they add anything to civilization.
Because you're saying they're moralizing to the point where they're choosing being good over winning.
Well, yeah, but they're just boring. I mean, they have won in some way. They've been successful,
Well,
unfortunately.
where do you put me in all this?
I don't quite know. I think you are a genuine liberal. I think you have a lot of open-mindedness, and you're high in kind of agreeable traits. And I think you genuinely are intellectually curious. That's just my take from
Yes.
having talked with you. And I would say that you have your haters online, and I kind of have a different impression of you talking with you. So that's my assessment of you. I think you are genuine. I don't think you're pursuing an agenda. I think you have a genuine open-minded attitude.
Well, I think agenda implies that the person is not saying what they're trying to do.
Right.
So like if I tell you at the outset, like you're an identitarian and my channel's trying to dismantle identitarianism, I feel like that, I hope, buys me
I'm
some.
cool with it because you're open about what you're doing.
Right, exactly. Like if I'm trying to trick you into contradicting yourself and then say, well, but in 2011, didn't you say? Then I feel like that becomes an agenda.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, the other thing I don't like about when people do that is that it implies that you have to cheat to win. And like I believe, and part of the reason, so people are like, some people are critical of me for talking to you.
Yeah, sure.
And I assume some people are critical of you for talking to me.
Yes.
And I want to believe that if we all talk to each other, the better ideas will prevail, which I believe are mine. And you may believe the same thing. So I don't. And if we talk to each other honestly.
I believe that to a degree, but I agree with your basic sense that it's good to talk. Like, one of the things about me is that I really am willing. Like, I would love to go have conversations with some liberal YouTubers or, BreadTube. I actually think that I can add to the conversation. Whenever I've mentioned because I'll sometimes watch them. Whenever I get mentioned, it's like a quick, kibosh,
Yeah.
like they'll sometimes even say something like, oh, it's kind of weird he voted for Biden, or like he's actually, like, he doesn't actually believe.
One thing that a lot of you guys don't realize, if you haven't seen this, is there is a huge divide amongst so many of these like alt-righter types. Like a lot of people hate Richard Spencer. A lot of people hate Nick Fuentes. The extreme left has a lot of infighting online. The extreme right has a ton of infighting as well. So many of these groups fucking hate each other. It's like pretty crazy.
Believe that he's a little bit different, and then they'll be like, no, he's a shitbag. He's a turd. Don't talk.
Gav is in the middle of a right-wing civil war. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Do you think there's a way to make it so that once my power is at 100%, I stop shipping in new energy? Because I realize now that I am wasting material to ship in energy. I'm using space warpers. I don't know how I feel about that.
Immediate, what's the right word? Just like, control. What is it? Control A, delete. It's just we're not contemplating any of this stuff. It's very funny.
Okay. You have said and done.
What's the difference between a Wignat and a Groiper? I don't think Groipers are like avowedly white nationalist or white supremacist. They definitely, I think they hardcore flirt with it, but they're more like, they call themselves paleo conservatives. They more want like they want like a hardcore return to a traditional America, which generally is going to imply a lot of restrictions on immigration and a lot of kind of like white nationalist or white supremacist kind of stuff. I think Wignat is like a slang way to refer to like a white nationalist who acts like, I think it's like their version of Wigger. I haven't used that word in a long time. And I think that the Wignat people are a bit more like I think like a Groiper would say in general, also keep in mind, all these are very like people will fight over the definition of this, right? A groiper will say something like, "We need to go back to what America was like. We need to curb immigration and make it how it used to be." And a wignat will be like, "We need to get all the fucking brown and black people out of here because they're inferior to white people and they're destroying the country." It's like slightly different, but there's probably tons of like overlap between the groups, and then I'm sure people are gonna fight over how you define what or what. So
few things that I think make people think that you're a Nazi, basically. That you're pretending. You know when they say like he went full mask off about whoever. So there's that audio recording, and then the Hail Trump, blah blah blah.
Oh, really? Legit,
and I think that nobody trusts anybody. So I don't think this is that unique to you. I think all of us have moments or things we said or did that people take to be, maybe because they want to believe it, that's the real you.
Yes.
And then anything else you say is seen as subterfuge, and there's no way to escape that.
I agree. And that the audio recording that was released, I think in 2019 or something like that. I mean, that was used precisely to
undermine
destroy me. Yeah,
yes.
It was promoted by Milo. It was secretly recorded, apparently by some Catholic person who's now running for office. What a surprise!
I think Spencer hates a lot of the organized religions. I think, right? Like when he says Catholic, that's like with disdain.
Surprise. And it was, it
also,
was,
groipers might tend to be Catholic, I think. Isn't Fuentes Catholic? Am I wrong on that?
It was released, I think, shortly
Catholic?
after I went on CNN and attacked Trump, and then shortly after I was critical of the groipers. So, I mean, I think there was a kind of agenda there.
For sure.
And the other thing is that, like, first off, very few people ask questions about, like, why were you recording this person in a moment of extreme stress? That was a moment, I was at a point of just total exasperation, and I indulged in power fantasies, and that I didn't say that publicly. I didn't say that to anyone, and I wouldn't say that to anyone. I was just out of my mind, and because I felt that Charlottesville had been such a disaster. And so it was the worst aspect of me. But also notice it was secretly recorded, which is not illegal, but highly unethical. And then the other thing is, where's the rest of that recording? Like that, you find a 15 seconds or 30 seconds. I don't know how long it is. Where's the also?
What event are they talking about? I think there was a recording, an audio of Richard Spencer that leaked, where I think he said like a bunch of like avowedly like racist, anti-Semitic shit. I think. I don't remember. I don't doubt we could listen to it on stream, but it's been a while. It's been a long time since I've listened to any of this shit.
Recording where I say something that is honest or something. None of that's there. It's
sure.
Just pure destruction. And,
okay. Are you okay with me pushing you on the recording a little? Or what?
Yeah, sure.
Are you tired of talking about this?
Well, and
I know you're tired. I'm sorry, that's a disingenuous question. Obviously, you're tired of talking about it.
I want to talk about it. No.
Are you so tired of talking about it that we can't?
You can talk about it, sure.
Okay. Okay. So you gotta from the point of view of so let's say a bread tuber, the response is gonna be, well, on my worst day, even when I'm losing my mind, I don't scream that like I'm gonna dominate, like, whatever slur. So
yeah.
Is that evidence that you harbor like deeply held racial hatred?
Well, I mean, I think you have to put it into context. I mean, one thing that was very true about the 2016 and 2017 alt-right is that it was a big tent movement where effectively anything goes. And
you know what? I was about to ask a question. Then I was going to broaden it and say, actually, it affects my... And then I realized actually it kind of affects me. The question I was going to say is, how garbage must you feel when you were part of the alt-right? in like 2016 and onward for a little bit with the Charlottesville stuff, you had your like, it was your time in the sun. You were there. It was mainstream. Everybody was talking about you. You were the alt-right. Your figureheads were like getting international coverage. Like you were there. It was a big thing, right? You had mainstream YouTube stars voicing your fucking beliefs. JonTron out here spitting fucking alt-right talking points. It was like, oh my God. And then it just kind of fizzled out and nothing happened. And then I'm thinking, I guess the same thing kind of happened. It hasn't completely died yet, but I guess it happened with the lefty movement in the US under Bernie, where it felt like, here it is, it's time. Kyle Kalinske, the Young Turks, Hassan Piker, Bernie Sanders, the Justice Dems, like the lefty movement, the socialists coming, it's coming. And then it's like, where did it go? But then I remembered, I guess I kind of fell into the same thing here back in 2008, where I don't know if it was ever big. Maybe it was just online. But the big libertarian movement, because everybody was like, Ron Paul, we finally have it, a libertarian president, something like a diluted ourselves, think like, it's going to be the next state. It's like, yeah, we're going to end the Fed. We know the solution to all of life's problems and shit. Yeah, so I guess we've all been part of these, like the rise and fall of these big online movements and shit.
And there was you don't see this type of camaraderie or esprit or something anymore. Now the movement is very fragmented and kind of inner looking and infighting and so on. But at that point, it was a kind of like, we love Richard Spencer, we love Andrew Anglin, we love Donald Trump, we love some random frog Twitter guy who's dropping the N word, we love Ricky Vaughn. It was, everyone was on the team, and because we felt like we were winning, and we felt like it was just a big tent mass movement. And I think that, to be critical of me, I think I kind of indulged in stuff that I now find really cringe.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely find Hail Trump cringe now. Although I don't say it now. I said it in the moment when we were all exuberant.
Sure.
And I think I was probably also kind of playing to that crowd, in the sense of, I was just being like the biggest badass. Like I was not a great athlete by any stretch, but I did play on the football team, and I can remember totally insane halftime speeches from coaches and other players about, eating the other team and,
sure,
raping them or whatever. So there was a little bit of that in there too.
Yeah.
And so it was a terrible moment. If you want to say that there are some problematic aspects.
I don't want to say anything.
Well, I'm giving you the context.
I don't want the context.
Okay, I'm curious. So we've hit the exact same issue that he hit with Lauren Southern. He is trying to have a personal conversation with Spencer about how Spencer feels personal feelings about what he said, and if there's any regret or if anything is wrong, if we did anything different, right? And what Spencer is doing is technically the same thing Lauren Southern did. He's like, well, hold on. Like, what about the context? I think the context about, like, this is why people said that, and this is what we wrote, right? And now he's, without even getting into how he feels personally the thing, he's trying to he's trying to build up all the context for why it happened. He's like in the justification mode, rather than like any kind of like personal conversation mode, you know?
Okay. So the thing people hate me the most for so far is saying that the girls and cuties were hot in my review.
I saw that, yes.
Okay. So you can imagine if you said, I like talking, you seem like a cool guy, but like, why the fuck did you say that? And I'm like, listen, you let me take you back to it was 2019. The exuberance was in the air. We were all very excited. Like, I can tell you about some halftime speeches. You'd be like, okay, well, like, yeah, but what about the part where you said the girls and cuties were hot? I feel like I get what you're saying, that like we all say things we don't mean in a moment of excitement. But is that your answer, that you didn't mean it, or that you sort of mean it, or that everybody holds those beliefs to some degree?
I think my answer is that there probably is a kind of reptilian brain Richard Spencer who said something like that.
Okay.
That person, I said it and I will own it. There is that person inside me. But
Okay.
that's not the only thing what I am, and that really is something that I am aware of, and that's not something that I find at all, productive or anything. I have, it was a very bad moment, but I will own it. I'm not gonna try to evade any responsibility for it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's almost the best I can do in a way, because it's not me. It is taken out of context. It's a worse side of me. But I think you can in a way see.
So you said every black person at the stadium was a dirty N-word. What do you mean when you say that was out of context? Well, okay, now listen, all right? I just come off a 10-loss streak on League, all right? I was my promos to Diamond 4, and I ended that day Plat 3. So let me set the stage for you, okay? So you can understand, It's like, okay, I want to know about this one, Chief. Not that that's not exactly what he said, by the way. I'm not trying to misrepresent it, but.
Like, I began this conversation talking about, groups dominate and bulldoze others. You can almost see that
it's
rant.
It's like the Green Goblin.
Exactly. Or you can see that rant as kind of like a horrifying and in a way kind of juvenile or scatological version of something that I would express in a higher. I understand
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
But,
I get what you're saying. Are you
but
horrified?
Like, I actually am more nuanced, and I am a reasonable guy. I mean, I piss off a lot of people, but I also pride myself in talking with people.
Yeah.
And they genuinely when I'm one-on-one with someone, not Ethan's audience who are totally, they hate me beyond measure, and they're sending super chats. So there's that mediation, in the sense of you will say something to someone on Twitter or on 4chan that you'd never say to their face, in a million years.
Yeah.
And so it's mediated. And so I think when I can cut through mediation with people, I really can talk to them. And I'm in a way proud of that.
You're very good at pissing people off. Another thing I've noticed in your interviews.
Yeah.
I feel like you'll kind of stress test the person to be like, if you're gonna attack me, just do it now. And people will usually, you're pretty good at it. Like if the person is gonna snap, you're pretty good at determining when and how that's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm ready to move on from the outburst. Unless you have anything else you want to say about it.
I don't have anything else to say about it.
Okay. I'm a big Mel Gibson fan.
We have one thing in common.
You got that one thing in common.
Deranged outburst.
Yeah, and I'm like, people are like, well, they're like, but you're a Jew. Like Mel Gibson hates you, and I'm like, well, if only when he's really drunk. But that's okay. Okay, so I didn't know this. So I've been arguing against people saying it's okay to punch Nazis on Reddit. I've been arguing with people about this for years.
Oh, this came from Richard Spencer, from him getting hit with
but
a
I
bike
didn't
lock or
know
something.
that they were specifically talking
about
about you.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Until like a week ago. I've known who you were for since I was in college in like 2000.
I think it was just a fist. Was it? I thought the guy had a bike lock and he hit him in the face. Am I wrong? Maybe it was somebody else that got hit. Oh, the bike lock guy was different. Spencer got punched. Okay, gotcha. Never mind.
6. Probably the first time I heard you.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That was very early.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't think it's okay to punch Nazis. I don't think you should punch anybody unless you're defending yourself. And of course people will say like, well, I am defending myself, but like that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
have you?
I'm glad I have at least one defender on Reddit.
Yes, I will. I will die to defend your right for free speech. I don't. Again, like if you believe that good ideas will rise to the top, and that's part of your justification for free speech, then when you punch somebody for talking, you're kind of implying that their ideas are better than yours.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't do that, and it's immoral to punch people. On top, so strategically, morally, but pretty much across the board, I think it's pretty abhorrent.
Yeah, fair enough.
What do you think about political violence? I assume when it's directed at you, you're certainly against it, but in general, I've heard you denounce it. So, what?
Well, I mean, you know, I think before you engage in moralizing, I think you have to kind of analyze the situation and see what's happening. I do think that we have.
I do think. What did he say?
A world in which political violence is going to be more prominent, and that just is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna I'm neither an endorsement or a condemnation. It just simply is what it is. I mean,
okay, so this is the bulldozer.
Well,
thinking.
No, because it's a little bit deeper than that. Because there are times when political violence is unthinkable, in the sense that, I mean, I can remember being, because I'm older than you are, I can remember being in college in like the turn of the century, and there was a general feeling that political violence was just over in a way. Like, what are you going to do? Go protest? What?
What the fuck was that noise?
We have it all. Like, go buy a .com stock and make money. Like, there wasn't a real cause.
Yeah.
And there's certainly, Antifa might have existed at that point, but it was, 10 guys
Mr. Girl
living in
shit does
Brooklyn or
this
something. And something like J6 or whatever, unthinkable. And so now, and I think the punch of Richard Spencer and the whole punch a Nazi debate and whatever, and all those memes that were made, I think that was indicative, and it was in a way a kind of small aspect of something that is now growing and that is very real. But even this kind of ebbs and flows. I don't think we're going to see another BLM summer, and we can talk about reasons for that. But these things ebb and flow. But I do think it does spell a kind of certain instability in America, maybe mental instability.
Who was
that
one, the elucid girl? I'm gonna be totally honest. I shouldn't be totally honest. This is the last bit of honesty, okay? Every time I see a girl on one of these panels, I always assume they're going to be like a hard lefty. Like, every time they're going to be a hard lefty. So when I saw that the Eurodite, the one girl, Katie or whatever, basically fit exactly what I thought. The Eurodite girl sounded really base, though, but I've never seen her in any of the politics circles before. She seemed really cool. That Fabian guy, oh man, that dude, he talks a lot, and I'm not always certain who he's talking to. Jesus Christ.
Kind of disintegration. Where people take it to the street, because
is that the ashes
very individualistic.
Are those, is that the fire and then the ashes from which the Richard Spencer ethno-state Phoenix could rise? Like,
I don't like using the Phoenix metaphor, but I would say that
cool.
the ethno-state is a inherently post-American formulation. And I do think that a lot of people misunderstood me because of this, because they're like, you want to throw out the blacks and throw out the Mexicans. And I would say, like, no, this is about like reimagining Rome, and it's coming after a geopolitical cataclysm. And I've always been like very explicit about that, but I don't think people get that because they believe in America.
Yeah. I believe in America. Okay, so you need violence to have the geopolitical cataclysm. You need violence in the street. Wait, let me walk through this, and you tell me. You could say no.
Okay, I disagree with that first presumption, but yeah, go on. I think political violence is a symptom and not a cause. I would strongly stress that.
I think it could be both. It could be like the broken windows thing. The more people who get punched in the face, the more times people storm the Capitol, the more people start to not believe in American democracy, fair elections, blah, blah, blah. I think all these things are symptoms for sure, but they can also contribute to just a sense of unrest. And
True, but
wait, where's
but
Pisco? Pisco, do you think Roe v. Wade was a bad ruling? I'm pretty sure he already said yes. Oh, did he? Oh boy. Okay, never mind. That's all you had to say. Okay, the answer is yes. Oh man. Fuck, I wish I had a link to this. It was a legal blog or something I read a while ago. And I should read more on the back and forth on it. But after reading it, I was like, wow. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Bookmark every article you read. I am now because I have this Zotero thing. So now when I bring up stuff I've read about like Russia or Ukraine, like now I can search through and I can show you like what I've read for why I think the things I do or whatever. Explain, Domi. Basically, the idea was that like Roe v. Wade, like out of thin air, abortion rights basically materialized because of an interpretation of like private, like it was like a right to privacy. I think was it? It's been a while, but it was like. I remember that I was doing two things at once, so I wasn't 100% focused, okay? But the way that it read was that like we had used some sort of legal alchemy to create out of thin air from our right to privacy the idea that we should be able to have abortions, and it was like, oh, that actually sounds like a dog shit argument. I don't know about that one. And I guess that like in some legal communities, I don't think people debate this openly because everybody has to be for Roe v. Wade. And I am, by the way, I'm definitely for the right to have an abortion. But the way that Roe v. Wade made that right materialize was interesting. I'll say that much, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Better arguments are from other parts of the Constitution? Potentially, sure. But okay.
Ethno-state's not going to be built by like a bunch of guys holding up shields. And
yeah.
like,
I understand. That's
Yeah.
not the Phoenix part. That's the
Right.
the turning America to ashes part that has to come first, in
But
some
I
form.
think all of it's symptomatic. I think when I look back at it, I think the alt-right was actually symptomatic of this, what I'm talking about.
I guess my question is, you getting punched in the face is a sign of destabilization.
Fuck, do you know what would be actually the most interesting convo ever? It would be interesting to talk to some older alt-righters and hear them talk amongst themselves and see how they feel about like where they were or what they were involved in or how everything worked. Like Lauren Southern arguing with Richard Spencer about like, do you think our strategies were good? Well, what did you do? What did you do? I feel like that would be a really interesting conversation to listen to. I think it'd be really weird. I don't know who else not weird. I shouldn't say weird. That makes it sound negative. I think it would be very interesting. Let me use the restroom quick. 1 second.
Of America.
Yes.
And that destabilization, whether it's through violence or not, is, to quote the Joker, all part of the plan. And so you might be willing to get punched in the face if that means that you are one step closer to...
Yes and no. I mean, look, the plan is like the force of history. Like, there's no secret plan that I have to create.
Yeah, you might not have to do anything at all. Like it might just happen on its own.
That's not what I said. But
Okay.
I do think that America is going down on its own, and I cannot either prevent that or cause it. Like it's like me standing out and there's this tidal wave coming, and when you see the tidal wave, like with a tsunami, you can't outrun it.
But do you? Want to?
You have to.
I think you will underestimate your.
Here's something also that I notice. Hold on. Let me make sure there's nobody in philosophy here, so I don't cringe too hard. Okay. I feel like I might have to change this point of my view rhetorically. I feel like I have a very postmodern view of like the world and history. So I feel like when I view history or when I view events around the world that things are connected sometimes in obvious ways, but I don't think that like every single thing is connected. I don't think that I can explain through all of history, like through a particular lens, and say like, oh, well, this is all about class struggle, or oh, this is all about, you know, this. I notice that when I debate people, they oftentimes subscribe to often like a single narrative that will describe like so much of history. The Muslim guy did it, where he's like, oh, well, we can follow through, like, you know, how liberalism dominates Islam, and we can see every single ill in modern human society can be traced back to liberalism. Every single thing that will make us happy can go back to Islam. Or when Richard Spencer talks about like how does diversity and the American dream work and everything, like he has a singular narrative. And I think sometimes it's hard for me to push back on those narratives because I have like, I view it all like, I'm sure that there are parts of the American dream that had to do with like people coming to the new frontier, but I'm sure that was also probably influenced by like the class they were born in. I'm sure it was also influenced by royalties willing to spend money on, you know, imperialistic ideas, which I'm sure was also influenced by like the different trade associations between different countries, which I'm sure was also influenced by like the advent of modern technology and our ability to sail across the oceans, which I'm sure, like, I feel like there's like, we can use like certain tools to analyze certain parts of history, but to say there's like an overarching narrative that explains so much of modern history that if you just understand this idea, so much becomes clear. Unless you want to talk about zoning regulations, then I believe that explains everything. But like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I have a more fractured view of how the world works, or there are so many more interconnected things than just having like one or two narratives that will necessarily say things. I think that hurts me from a debate point of view because grant narratives are so fun. To be able to put together like one narrative and then be able to tell the story of history through that singular lens is very compelling and very nice, very clean, very cool. Yeah, I don't know.
Place in history. As
Well,
much
you.
as
Maybe I'll get all Nick Fuentes now and
yeah,
say
as
that God's on my side and I'm a struggle.
as much as part of me wants to call you a megalomaniacal, egotistical maniac, I actually do think that you have played and may continue to play a important role in American history. So I think if you really wanted to stop it, I don't think you could do it single-handedly. But just the same way, no one person can start a riot.
Right.
You can throw a brick through a window and get a good chunk of the way there. So I would like it if you wanted to stop the tidal wave. I love America.
Well, in my defense, I did see the Trump movement becoming extremely toxic and useless. And I did not foresee J6. I was actually kind of laughing about those Stop the Steal rallies. And I was like, it's just, you know, they're just out there having fun or whatever. I did not see something like J6. Now, J6 was quite buffoonish in many ways, and I don't think it could have ever succeeded. But it was a kind of attempt at revolution. And the people really believed that. And they said so on their own live streams.
Also, FYI, my current standing is that I would say that January 6th holistically was an attempted insurrection. I think that, well, assuming that the convictions come from the Oathbreakers that were like literally plotting out how to get new arms into DC, how to hold up the election process long enough for Trump, like I would say that like at that point with those charges, absolutely an insurrection attempt. Was everybody there involved with it? No, but I think that for the event holistically, I would say absolutely. Is Fuentes going to jail? I don't know what they're after Fuentes for, but the conviction attempts, or I'm sorry, not the convictions, the charges that those Oathbreaker guys. To be fair, I didn't read the charges. I just read an article going over them. Assuming the article didn't lie, like these guys were literally, they had plans, they had like bombs and shit, or they had like guns planted like all over DC that they were going to be bringing in to like hold up the Capitol to try to stall off the election so that Trump can maintain power. If that's not an insurrection, nothing is. Those charges are pretty insane. That's pretty ridiculous. Oathbreakers or Oathkeeper, or they might be the Oathkeepers. I don't know what the fuck they are. One of those things.
Say in my own defense that part of my like just totally dumping Trump and supporting Biden was basically like it was saying like, listen guys, Biden's actually not that bad. and Trump really ain't good. And the toxicity of that cult is not leading anywhere good, even if I didn't foresee exactly where exactly it was leading. And so in some ways, I do want to kind of hold back the tide if it's not, serving a purpose. If it's just a big fracas, and you're just going to engage in this, like, the most buffoonish coup d'etat.
Can you qualify it some by saying that it was a useless insurrection attempt, though, because there's so many contingencies I've heard of the government puts in place to keep things going? No, I don't think that you can say that, like if I walk up to you and I shoot you in the face and I find out that you have like a bulletproof face. Let's say I shoot you in the chest and I find out you're wearing Kevlar, right? And then we go to court and the guy's like, okay, this guy, that was attempted murder. And I'm like, hold on, I could have never killed you. You had Kevlar on. It's like, okay, well, you didn't fucking know that. Wait, what the fuck? You didn't know that shit. Right? I don't know if you could say like, well, was it an attempted insurrection? Well, I don't know. It's not like even if they succeeded, it would have worked. I don't know if that works, right?
Attempt of all time. Then there's no point. There's no point in risking anything for that. There's no point in getting burned by that.
Wait,
what kind of coup would you support? If you could have any kind
any coup against the government, I just want to be clear here.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
But I wasn't asking you.
I just want to be clear. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah, I know. I was just telling you. Go ahead.
If you could have any kind of coup you want.
I don't think America. I think the fantasy of like we could pull off a coup and change the course of America. I think America's decline.
Pisco, you're never going to get me on board with using the term terrorist.
And
I just think it's such a nebulous term.
Let's imagine if Trump
but I love you, buddy.
pulled it off, you know, and they like canceled the electors and they got new ones and he was in there for another 4 years. Or let's say he just made himself dictator. I don't think that would actually change much of anything. It would just be like a slightly different path towards the same end.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of a Hegelian, like logical, there's a logic to history and it leads somewhere type of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but now, would I have enthusiastically, endorsed, like if I were living, because I am Anglo-Saxon, so I've got some German roots and English roots. Like if I were living in Germany during Napoleon's invasion, would I just be an enthusiastic supporter of Napoleon? Yes. If I were living in Britain, would I have betrayed my own government to support the emperor? Hell yes.
Okay.
So I'm not against any of these things. Like, I'm not going to moralize about it's not a democratically elected government or something.
Right. You don't. Do you not believe in? You don't believe in democracy?
No.
Well, I don't know what believing in democracy means.
Well, yeah, you do.
He doesn't necessarily value it. I don't think
means
a lot of these alt-writer types do.
That you.
It seems like a god-awful way of choosing leaders to me. Some kind of popularity contest.
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to take, if we
you
look
don't
at
believe
the
in democracy,
tastes
that's
and mores of the American public, Marvel movies and, gummy bears or whatever, it doesn't, I'm not sure I want these people making decisions. Now, as it is, I don't think there's any country that's truly democratic.
Yeah. I get it.
We're not taking referendum every day.
Right. I understand. You're saying you don't believe in.
Real quick, you don't have to take a referendum every fucking day on every single fucking decision for it to necessarily be a democracy. There's tons of different types of democracy. Okay, it's a really dumb way of saying this, right?
In the sense that you don't think it's actually happening
I don't
the way
believe
it is intended to. Right, yes. I
don't believe in it.
So funny seeing Jesse in the role of granddad Nazi debater, knowing all the talking points and stuff. It's just very irritating because nobody ever learned any of the talking points of any of the conservatives. It's so frustrating. Even amongst conservatives, there are a lot of different breeds of conservatives these days. Nobody understands. Like I remember I would still see like progressives or lefties talking to Republicans like, oh, you guys are upset. You guys just want big corporate America business to take over. Like, no, what the fuck? Like, those are neocons, bro. That's like the age of George W. Bush. Conservatives today hate big business. No conservative is going to be out here simping for big business. They just hate big government marginally more. Back in the days of George W. Bush, people loved big business. These were the job creators. Okay, these are the big boys in America that they loved. But I think that the new populist trend has split the ideological differences in different ways these days.
I don't believe it exists, and I don't believe it's an ideal. Yeah.
I know.
So I
was asking about the second part.
Yeah. It's definitely not an ideal.
I think to be fair, I think most people I think there's a large number of people, I'll say, who don't
Shapiro is still big pro-business. Ben Shapiro might be a more traditional, I say traditional, like neoconservative, like a Bush era conservative. Do you think that's fair to say? Where he is, I think he's a bit more hawkish on foreign policy. I think he's pretty anti-Trump, and I think he's pretty big, like fewer government restrictions. Like, I don't know his position, but for instance, it wouldn't surprise me if Ben Shapiro was really pro-immigration because it's like economically beneficial, as long as there aren't like criminals. It wouldn't surprise me if he said that. I might be wrong. Maybe I haven't heard him talk about it recently, but it wouldn't surprise me if like that was his opinion about immigration. Because I think he is more the traditional like Bush era conservative type, like an establishment conservative, maybe. Yeah.
Really exists in practice, but who want to strive for it as an ideal. So I would say that that's probably where I am. I agree that realistically, it's flawed.
I could be wrong
never
on all that,
works
by the way.
quite the way it's supposed to work, and often doesn't even come close. But as a guiding light,
the argument against democracy are Marvel films and Krispy Kreme donuts. Clearly, the American public should not be given any decision-making power.
I don't think I agree. I think Marvel,
popular.
But they're not that bad though. They're okay.
Okay, but
they're okay.
I was going to say something here because I can make an interesting point about this. Imagine if you were a German who was born in, say, 1905.
Okay.
And you lived a very long life. And you were born in an imperial Germany with a parliament and also a monarch. Mm-hmm. You experienced a cataclysmic world war. You then lived in a democratic republic that was kind of foisted upon the loser of that war. You then experienced a fascist dictatorship for a dozen years. You then experienced a few decades, as you reach middle age, a communist dictatorship that maybe kind of reminded you of the fascist one in some ways, and part of a Russian empire. Mm-hmm. Very new stuff. And then as you were reaching about, you're an octogenarian, you actually start to live in a new kind of American democratic unified Germany. You would have experienced, I don't know how many that is. It's like 5 or 6 different types of regimes. Mm-hmm. And I think you would have, in different types and different ways of legitimizing the regime and so on. And I think you would probably develop a kind of mature cynicism about the people in power. You would say, well, I heard that from the communists. Hitler said that too, and I'm not going to take this new liberal too seriously. There's a kind of mature cynicism, and you believe in Germany in some sense. Obviously there's like the German language, and there's a common culture, lots of differences, of course, but the common culture, but the German state, you might have a certain cynicism towards, and I think with Americans it's very different because we haven't experienced that kind of tumult, and so Americans believe in America much more than I don't think they can imagine. If that hypothetical person who might very well have existed, I'm sure there's actually a ton of people who literally lived through.
But you're saying that's Empire. How you're saying that you have.
That's
the cynicism.
My attitude. I'm like that German. Whereas
you have the cynicism of a 119-year-old German. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and the Americans kind of can't imagine anything else. So like, whenever they want to criticize the government, they just want to go back to democracy or like what it means to be a real American. It's a very similar thing of like people living in under Russian communism. They would have jokes like, we pretend to work and they pretend to pay us. And they would kind of like go through the motions of, you know, spouting off Marxist platitudes or whatever. I think Americans are very different in the sense that they genuinely believe in their country, and they kind of can't, they don't have an imagination of something other than Americans.
Okay, here's a question.
But I say that as a criticism and not.
I know.
I mean, remember the same word for, you know, believing in something.
I think another scary thing about people like this, Richard Spencer, is when you have this overarching narrative. Given somebody, they either emailed me or messaged me on Discord. It was a really interesting criticism that I think I'm going to think about a lot in my future conversations. Is usually when I have debates with somebody like this, I'm usually asking a lot of questions to try to figure out, like, well, what do you think? How can I attack you? How can we agree? How can we disagree? Like, what do I think you're irrational on or inconsistent on, right? And I usually do that by asking questions to try to figure out, because I'm not trying to pin you to the wall with something you don't believe. I'm genuinely trying to figure out what, like, genuine contradictions of what you believe. And somebody emailed me, and I think their criticism was like, listen, if you're debating a very good faith interlocutor and you guys are engaged in conversation, like asking questions is probably the best way to get to the heart of your disagreements. But, and they didn't phrase it this way exactly, but this is kind of how I see this now. When you're dealing with somebody that believes in these like overarching grand narratives, when you ask questions, you're not really getting closer to any sort of real like material disagreement. You're just giving them more and more time to just keep talking about their view of the world. And the more you let somebody build upon that, the more compelling their argument is going to seem, because chances are if a person, especially if they've been in the debate world for a long time, they're going to be able to tie together like every single problem in society to their particular worldview. So you have to be a little bit more pointed. I say you, me. I have to be a little bit more pointed when I attack people or when I'm engaging them in conversation, and not just ask questions, expect, okay, we're going to answer, and then we can kind of like figure out where a disagreement is, because they don't view it that way. Instead, it's more just like, this is another opportunity for me to just go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about how, about what I believe in. And yeah, and now everybody's going to sit here and listen to it. I think honestly a good analogy is direct examination and cross-examine trial. Sure, where in a trial you ask a question, you get an answer. You ask, and the person on the stand isn't really allowed to like ramble or just like go on and on and on about shit. They have to. The judge makes them answer a particular question, and then you can kind of build from there. Yeah.
Credulity. I mean, you could also say that they're gullible.
Yeah, democracy requires the belief in democracy.
Right.
I agree with that. I don't agree with everything else you said. Here's my question. What if you're too cynical? Like, so to me, and I think maybe most Americans, democracy is like the goal, and then if we slip into a dictatorship or fascism or any other form of government, we've fallen through the floor. That's a failure.
Right.
What if you're wrong?
For me, the goal is a higher level of civilization. And whatever gets us to that is fine by me.
Okay. What if you're wrong? And
the ends justify the means. Absolutely.
What if people? Yeah. That's another huge disagreement we have. What if people are better than you give them credit for? And
they're not.
Why? I know that. I'm saying in a hypothetical. In a hypothetical, weird dimension where you're wrong. What if democracy is possible? I'm not sure what the question is here, but let me just get to the end of it. If democracy is possible, and all people of all different colors and stripes actually do manage to live together in a collective, you'd look like an asshole, wouldn't you? I don't know what the question is. But do you think it's possible that you're wrong? I guess is my question.
Of course, I think it's possible that I'm wrong. Yeah, but
So
I'm not.
I get you can say everybody else is cynical, but an idealist. It just seems like gullible. It seems, yeah, like heartbreakingly cynical and depressing.
Yeah. Sorry to burst your bubble.
You haven't. You no, you haven't burst my bubble. I'm sorry that you've bursted your own bubble.
But I never believed in democracy throughout my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in like middle school reading history books and like really liking Napoleon, and you know, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, it was just natural. Like the people, the villains that were given to me, you know, in education, I loved.
Okay, so I've seen.
What is that song by Pet Shop Boys? It's a Sin. Do you know the lyrics to that song? There's a funny song about being a schoolboy but not learning your lessons. It will come to me.
Are we gonna have another karaoke moment later? I saw some people in chat asking for it.
We could definitely do that. Yeah.
All right, we might have to finish off with that. We're gonna take some callers too. I don't want to interrupt too much, but I do know we'll take some callers at some point too. So I threw out the link if people want to get ready for that.
I've seen people ask you the Hitler question a few times.
Okay.
Which may be another well-worn topic that you are tired of, but can we get through it quickly?
Sure.
Hitler is a villain in history books, in American history books. Was he one of the villains that you liked?
He was. I've never been a Hitler fanatic or anything like that. I've never read Mein Kampf.
I respect what he was able to accomplish, though.
I've read books on the Third Reich. I've never really been fascinated by it.
He might not say that.
I mean, I do think that, you know, there are certain commonalities between, you know, Napoleon, Mussolini, Hitler, and other types of kind of leaders like that who were kind of viewed as aggressive and conquering and just badass or something. I would say this. I think it is like bad optics or dangerous to. I don't think we can ever have like a real down to earth, you know, discussion about Hitler and the way that we can about Bismarck or Martin Luther.
Then if you I mean, we can just skip it then.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so toxic. Because
here's another question.
He's the moral core. He's the anti-moral core of liberalism, and so
yes,
in some ways, you kind of can't talk about. It's like saying
you can.
Like having, well,
it just depends on your goals.
If you're an historian, maybe you can get away with it, and also if you are bashing him, you can get away with it. But yeah, I mean.
And in a conversation about Hitler, I would be bashing him, and so you would be in the opposite corner. So I understand that.
Probably wouldn't be a good look for me, and it's just not, you know.
Okay.
It's not something that motivates me. It's not something that I'm passionate about. To be honest.
Here's a better question.
Okay.
Have you seen Apt Pupil?
You know, I haven't, but I think that's been recommended to me.
I think that you would love Apt Pupil. On many, many levels. I saw you retweeted the Overlook Hotel picture. So I know you've got some Stephen King in you.
Yeah.
It's based on a Stephen.
I'm a more Kubrick fan, but.
Oh yeah. I had that idea also actually, but it's based on a Stephen King story, directed by Bryan Singer.
Oh, okay. Fellow pedophile, I guess. That's why.
Oh well, I think in his defense, I think that kid was
a joke. But...
That kid was 15.
Oh man.
So, technically not pedophilia.
Well, okay. I don't think you can ever win a conversation in which you're making technical distinctions on that that subject, but
until
I-
now,
I've
until
heard
I
you.
until I just did just now. Now you know that you can. Uh, Starring Ian McKellen and Brad Renfro. Brad Renfro. And David Schwimmer.
Hmm.
And it's about this, I think, high school kid who is questioning American history as it is taught, and then he discovers a Nazi hiding in his town,
Yeah.
and then he basically blackmails him into, like, forces him to have a relationship with him where he, like, shows him his uniform and, like, just basically, like, just gets to know him.
Yeah.
And then, like, a bunch of crazy shit happens, but I think you'd like it.
I'll put it on my queue.
Anna is losing it in Dylan's chat.
That's what I
Oh,
say
make
to
Dylan take
people
her, bring
when
her
I'm not
on.
gonna watch something.
No, no, I'll probably watch it. My queue right now.
Yeah.
I've never seen Manhunter, and I
Wait, Trainwreck is about to win big. Hold on 1 second, guys. Don't waste my time with this.
so I just put that on my queue, and then I want to see this
The
movie.
movie?
Yeah, it's a
Oh, I know what it is.
Thomas Harris kind of book. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I kind of want a thriller, murder mystery. Type thing.
Well,
And
Brian Cox is no Anthony Hopkins, so just be aware
True.
of that going into it.
True. And then I actually want to see this film, The Green Knight.
I think you'd like it.
I'll put it on my queue.
Anna is losing it in Dylan's chat.
That's what I say.
Oh, make
to
Dylan
people
take her,
when
bring
I'm
her
not
on.
gonna watch something.
No, I'll probably watch it. My queue right now.
Yeah.
I've never seen Manhunter, and I
Wait, Trainwreck is about to win big. Hold on 1 second, guys. Don't waste my time with this.
So I just put that on my queue, and then I want to see this
The movie?
Yeah, it's a
Oh, I know what it is.
Thomas Harris kind of book. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I kind of want a thriller, murder mystery. Type thing.
Well,
And
Brian Cox is no Anthony Hopkins, so just be aware
True.
of that going into it.
True. And then I actually want to see this film, The Green Knight.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the kind of, alt-right or dissident right or whatever, they're like, oh, it's, they have an Indian actor as a white man or what, and fair enough. But it actually, that criticism bores me at this point. And also it actually looks really fascinating, like visually spectacular. So I definitely look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I'm a big fan of A24. Okay, one other movie question. American History X.
Jesus.
I've seen that, yeah.
And
That's
that's my
Not that
idealism.
great.
That's my idealism. I'm sure you hate it.
I don't hate it.
It's very idealistic.
It's kind of an interesting film because what is the name of the lead character played by Edward Norton?
Massive Nazi dude. That's all I remember.
Yeah. Well, they make him obviously
That's what I also remember from that movie. Just
the
how
curb
much that
stomping.
must
Yeah.
actually hurt your teeth is what I always think about when I think of that movie. Actually.
Yeah. So they made him horrible, and he in fact.
I'm never gonna finish this fucking talk. Are we still an hour into this? We got sidetracked so hard. Oh. Don't finish it. It's cringe and it's boring. I said person you say well it's the same. Honestly, God, I don't know. I truly don't know. I'm just memeing out at this point. You have to admit though, Dylan did pretty good. No, this is the same conversation we've had with her like a million times so far.
violent or terribly disfigures the person.
How many Ray receivers do you guys set up to make
at
this
the same
shit? What the
time,
fuck?
it's kind of interesting because when he's giving speeches, he actually sounds a lot like Pat Buchanan. So I think there was a kind of underhanded method of
smearing,
associating, of a kind of associating like what was in the 90s like actually fairly reasonable.
What are you going to retract? I'll retract everything. If she can make it 6 months, I'll say that I seduced her and I mind fucked her over and over again and I was a horrible human and that's all I did the entire time. I'll do all of that. If she can make it 6 months, I'm not talking about me.
Nationalism with curb stomping. And then there's this other layer of irony. It doesn't his little brother like get murdered by a black person or something at the end of the film?
Yes.
So maybe he was right. I don't know. I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying. That seems to be the
No, how do you? Oh no, there's American History X, right? How can you miss the point of the film that badly?
reasonable nationalism.
I feel like that encapsulates his entire ideology. What an interesting analysis.
With curb stomping, and then there's this other layer of irony. It doesn't his little brother like get murdered by a black person or something at the end of the film?
Yes.
So maybe he was right. I don't know. I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying that seems to be the message of the film. Or maybe maybe the message is you've got to be a goody liberal, regardless of even you know.
I thought the message was that hate begets hate, and
yeah, what this is like an 8th grade film where it's like, what's the lesson? Oh well, it seems like when we act bad, everybody's bad, and it messes everything up. Teacher, that's right. That you may not be the one to pay the price for your sins.
Maybe that also I could see that as a message. Yeah.
What? Okay.
You might not be the one to pay the price for your sins. That's interesting. Collective punishment in a way. Yeah, I don't think that's a great film. I have seen it. I have no real desire to rewatch it.
Okay.
But what are my favorite films? Is that a good question? What are the greatest films?
Sure. Yeah.
American cinema.
Sure.
I think John Ford is an amazing filmmaker. I do think The Searchers might be the greatest American film. And it's a very tragic portrayal of the hero, in an ironic portrayal of the hero and of race, actually.
That's a John Wayne Western.
I'm named after the
Yes.
Searchers, by the way. My parents named me after the lead character.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They were John Ford aficionados.
Yeah, it's a great film. I mean, the person you're named after is actually kind of a tragic figure who kind of gets expelled, almost kind of loses it. Anyway, I won't give it away. Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is just an amazing Hegelian film. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is not the Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. I just think John Ford's great. I love Hitchcock films. I think he's an amazing filmmaker. I guess it is that American cinema, but
yeah. Why not? We'll take it.
I don't know. Films are nuanced and serious and disturbing and tragic vision of racial conflict than American History X. American History X is salacious. It's whatever. The Searchers actually makes it into a tragedy, and I would. That's
is there anything left in this interview, or is this just
and contemplating?
I'll put it on my queue.
Which means you won't watch.
No, I actually will watch it.
Good.
You should watch
just like you're actually gonna watch After Pupil.
I probably will actually watch that.
And I probably will watch The Searchers.
Good.
Okay, a couple other. I have another question.
yeah?
So in my Kumbaya hand holding racial, I have two questions. Okay, so the first one is, on my mission, which I will continue on, and my platform is growing. These people can't get enough of me, you know. The money's coming in. It's All in the past 3 weeks. I'm now
Really?
doing content creation full time. 3 weeks ago, I was a pauper, and now I'm here. So, on my mission as I rise to power, I don't like white grievance. I want to address white grievance. I don't like ignoring white people. I think being racist against white people is just as bad. You know what? I even think it might be worse than being racist against any other race, because it's the only racism where people pat themselves on the back while they're doing it.
Wow.
So I hate racism.
Fair enough.
I hate racism against anybody, and I want to.
Who is this
I
Grace
wanna stop
streamer?
it. And I
Beach
want
girl?
people
Jesus.
to empathize with and understand the plight of all people, including white people.
I agree, and I
Yeah.
actually think, in a funny way, I have more empathy towards other races and their suffering than most all conservatives, who in their typical way always want to deny these things. Very similar to J6, how like, oh, J6, it never happened. It was just a friendly walk in the park. And why are you
I've seen
shooting
your tweets about COVID too.
in COVID as well, yeah.
Yeah.
But they want to deny everything. One thing they want to deny also, this is a very kind of like Jared Taylor or Dinesh D'Souza, like pseudo-intellectual, of like, oh, well, the Indians, it wasn't that bad. I mean, they did bad things to each other, and we brought, liberalism. No, we didn't. Yeah. We actually conquered the continent, and there was a tremendous amount of bloodshed and arguably genocide and dispossession, unarguably, that occurred. It was horrible. They have a right to their suffering, and they have a right to their hatred. And you can't understand the African American experience without understanding slavery. There's no question. And like the Tucker Carlson types who want to just deny we're all individuals now because MLK or whatever. I just find this just totally dishonest and contemptible. Okay. So I actually do understand these things, and I actually can empathize with that type of suffering in a way that a mendacious white person can't.
Right. I don't want to do that to white people. Like I think there's no denying that if white supremacy is, if we're trying to get rid of white supremacy, me as a progressive or liberal or whatever, we're trying to get rid of racism, that means white people end up in a worse position at the end than when they started. Now, it's possible maybe we will all end up in a better position. Maybe technology will allow us to all prosper, and drones will do all of our work, and everything will be AI, and it won't matter, and we'll all be fine, lots of food and space and whatever. That's possible. But right now, I see why white people feel like they are losing power and standing in society, because to some extent they are. And to ask them to and some of them are going along with it and signing it away because of lofty ideals that you find contemptible, and some of them are pissed about it.
But can't articulate it.
But can't articulate it, which is where you come in. I understand. But so for me, do you have any advice for me on how to, I guess, I know you don't want to give me advice about how to get angry white people on board with what I'm doing because you fundamentally disagree with it. But any advice, I guess, for are you so against my overall goals that you're against even me wanting to do advocacy?
Hold on one second.
I don't have any problem with what you're doing. Right, you do you.
Okay.
And
great. So then, do you have any advice overall then?
I would say I don't, in a way, need to give you this advice, because I think if you are to succeed, it will be through this kind of dialogue. And you wanted to do this. I mean, from what I understand from Ethan, you wanted to talk to me.
I did.
And so that's great. It's a pleasant surprise. It's a pleasant shock. So I think that is a good move. And that's a much more serious move than people who only want to demonize me or see me as a monster. And so I think you're doing the right thing.
We're all monsters.
Well, that's true. I am a monster.
Well, so am I.
I'm not. All right, let's.
Oh, fuck out. Jesus Christ.
Let me take some callers. We have people here who want to talk to both of you. We talked about who wanted to talk to who. Okay, well, why don't we get some callers in? Now, I don't know if they'll have the same friendly mission. We can't say for sure.
No, I'm sure they won't. Being that I'm going to subject myself to your audience, Ethan, I'm going to actually grab a drink.
Okay, go ahead and grab a drink. All right.
What happened? Why are we freaking out?
I can read. Let me see. There may be a.
Are all the bad words like right now? Oh, it's just okay. Fuck. All right. Well, damn. This is. I guess it's probably productive. It was in 2014, right? I think the lefties say that this revolution was I feel like I've heard them allude that this one was fake, that like the U.S. staged this or something. I don't.
And the U.S. was fueling anti-government sentiment through mechanisms like U.S. aid, USCI aid.
I'm not necessarily saying he's saying this, but it almost sounds like he's implying that like Russia is like pro-fascist. I don't think Russia is pro-fascist. I think that my understanding is that Russia and their understanding of how propaganda and everything works.
In November 2013, then-President Viktor Yanukovych at the last moment refused to sign the so-called association agreement with the EU and set Ukraine on a course towards Russia instead. The decision sparked protests across the country, fueled by growing discontent with the ruling elite. What started out as a simple but large-scale expression of discontent would soon balloon into a massive pro-European movement against Russian influence and government corruption. The protest's epicenter was Independence Square in Kiev, also known as Maidan Nezalezhnosti, where the name Maidan Revolution came from. The protests went on for months, until...
People are saying that there's a sniper on a building overlooking the Institute Sky Street behind me. So those are live ammunition rounds. Kalashnikov, where bullets have gone through their shields. We're not exactly sure which building the sniper is in, but so any of us here could get hit. We're here in front of the Hotel Ukraina that overlooks Independence Square. When clashes began, it started being used as a triage centre for the wounded. Apparently inside there are a number of dead bodies, and mostly from gunshot wounds.
They're not showing dead bodies, right?
On the 19th of February 2014, police opened fire on protesters with live ammunition, killing dozens. How did we get here? How does a European country in the 21st century go from pro-European protests to police opening fire? The answer can be found in Ukraine's recent political history. In 2004, Viktor Yanukovych won the presidential election against his pro-European opponent, Viktor Yushchenko. The election was considered massively fraudulent both domestically and internationally, having been rife with voter intimidation, voter suppression, and massive corruption. This resulted in the so-called Orange Revolution, a peaceful protest movement that was successful in the end, having achieved an election rerun. There, Yushchenko beat Yanukovych by an 8% margin and became president of Ukraine. In the next election, however, in 2010, Yanukovych made a comeback by a thin margin, after which he imprisoned his main pro-Western opponent, Yulia Tymoshenko. The trial was of course a complete farce. Tymoshenko was a political prisoner. But the election once again exposed the massive divide inside Ukraine between pro-Western and pro-Russian regions. The pro-Western heartland being the areas around Lviv, while the pro-Russian the areas around Donetsk. The reason for the Party of Regions' popularity was in large part them favoring devolution of power to the regions and more autonomy for minorities, linguistic or ethnic. Now, the areas in the south and east are mostly Russian-speaking and are closer to Russia culturally. There is, of course, nothing wrong with wanting to give minorities more autonomy. The problems start when the Russian government uses these minorities first as a Trojan horse and then a battering ram in service of their geopolitical.
Okay, Mr. 2021, 2022 version of Anonymous. Jesus, chill.
How many times do I have to put on this deep voice?
For you to understand that I'm a gigachad. Oh fuck, my voice changing software broke. Hold on.
There. Now, as I was saying, pedophiles are bad.
I could not agree more, my friends.
Oh my god.
All of your wise words.
This might be one of the most cringe videos I've ever seen in my entire life. Pick a side, YouTube. Is this the real one? Okay. Why would you link me the response video, you dumb fuck? Jesus, this looks so dramatic. All right, good luck.
On
On November 26, 2021,
Oh, it is
my good
dramatic.
friend Max published a video exposing the colossal pedo ring that is IMVU, where he uncovered one particularly inveterate child predator, known in-game as Pablo Sunny, a pedophile with an extensive history of grooming multiple teenage girls. And to no one's surprise, YouTube tore it down like none of it ever happened. The fickle thing about it, though, is that the video was cut and censored in accordance with the community guidelines, manually reviewed by your staff in order for the family-friendly shell that remained to be available on your platform, even if age-restricted. I myself have personally seen the entire video, and there is
Okay. I'm trying to think of this without bullying. Why does it seem like there is a certain YouTuber cadence, but the voice is like very weird? Do you guys know what I'm talking? Is it the guy that did the Burger King foot lettuce and everything he talks about? And he actually sounds like this the entire video. Now this guy isn't quite as bad, but it sounds a little bit like, what is happening? Why? What is this? Where is this coming from?
not one timestamp you can find that does anything even remotely illicit, especially compared to the categorical obscenities that already plague YouTube. And for what? Because of the bare ass of a virtual character. Is this a joke? Max documenting this formerly unknown behavior in a 90-minute documentary about the horrors of pedophilia and child sexual abuse in IMVU is somehow sexually gratifying to you? Everything was perfectly fine for the first half-fucking million people who watched it, but the very second Team YouTube watches it. Interesting. We tried resolving it with you peacefully, but you were unwilling to budge like the apologist you allegedly are. And Max has had enough.
Oh no.
Just fucking kidding.
Wait, what?
Just fucking kidding.
What is happening? Chills, chilled, chill. Why is everybody saying chills? It's like a deeper version of chills? What is chills? That guy got on Adult Swim? Where? What is this? Hold on.
Number 15. Could I get the number 15?
Oh.
Number 15. Could
This guy. Jesus Christ.
How many bloody times do we have to do this dance? You fuck with us, we fuck with you, and history repeats itself. Whether it's intentional
Okay, Mr. 2021, 2022 version of Anonymous. Jesus, chill.
or not, you endlessly punish those of us who create content in response to injustice.
You want to be ninja? You want to be ninja? Give that to your ninja friends.
Speaking up for victims like children and pursuing the perpetrators like pedophiles. It is volatile, intense, disturbing, upsetting, raw, and real. Because that is the subject matter it is covering, and that is the way it should be covered. As my audience, many of whom are CSA survivors, have instructed me to do. But no matter how vital the video may be to them, you take down our shit and continue to help absolutely no one besides the evil people we are trying to expose.
Oh my God.
And the survivors continue to scream in agonizing silence. But maybe that's the way you like it. I will let my colleagues take a more measured and balanced approach to this discussion. And despite all of
It's the Doomslayer, true.
personalities you're about to see, you'll notice that there's one thing that does bring us all together. We don't pedophiles. Something you don't seem to see eye to eye with us on.
Okay.
Do you want to move here instead? Or
why? What's wrong with your other thing? Is it getting fucked?
No, I'm just. If we're building two bases, might as well consolidate, right?
If you want to. I'm just collecting scrap from here. We can go. I can go over the other one next, but that other place seemed pretty busy. There's a ton of barrels.
Yeah, yeah, it's way busier than here, it seems. I just keep it both in case one gets fucked. The other one's gonna be a backup.
Yeah.
Should get a code lock door though.
YouTube messes with me all the time. I remember one time I got 3 strikes. They banned me. I appealed the ban. I said, hey, this is unfair. And they said, nope, they rejected my appeal. I've learned a long time ago you simply cannot trust Google. They still delete my videos to this day. And I really hate saying it, but I don't have pride in YouTube anymore. The amount of censorship is completely disheartening, especially when people need to see this.
Do you need a horse?
If there's something that the internet has shown us time and time again in regards to independent investigations, it's that the average person can notice something that an investigator might miss the first or second time. And as such, investigative content should really be encouraged.
YouTube is clearly delusional at this point, censoring us all and blatantly ignoring the good that comes from heavily investigated content. The awareness that spreads from such videos are immense. Is that not a good thing though? It honestly feels like YouTube is trying to protect these up people, and that's not okay. This is why we've got to step in.
Personally, I don't think YouTube ever cared about any of us.
There's a guy cruising around in a car.
Their poster
he's
child,
looking for
but
Dan.
most importantly, you have to be incredibly ad-friendly. Even 100% innocent channels are getting completely destroyed. I've dealt with it myself multiple times.
90% of the issues with YouTube could be resolved if Google just hired a team of real people to look over and see what's actually being done than what's just being reported. On YouTube, you're basically guilty until proven innocent. And people know this. My Dan Schneider video got 2 takedown requests, but I know of other smaller YouTubers who have talked about the whole Dan Schneider thing, and their shit got taken down because they were small channels and because they couldn't fight back.
You know, YouTube was actually a place for people to create back in the day. I mean, actually hire people to review and moderate videos, not auto-moderated robots. You know, I don't need like fucking R2D2 over here telling me that my info or any other creator's info isn't valuable to a cause when there's actual victims on the line.
Every single day we can see exploitative content trending on YouTube. Content such as family channel content that takes advantage of children. On the other hand, we have investigative content that is not only pushed back by the algorithm, not only demonetized, but actively hidden from subscribers who signed up to see that content. And this is a problem.
It feels like YouTube is constantly punishing the wrong people on its platform. I mean, this is something that I experienced with my fake animal rescue investigation. When all of a sudden my videos started getting age restrictions, and then I started to receive community.
Do you guys remember when Alicia's channel got axed by Twitch for a week, I think, because she was covering the kitten mill place or whatever? I think she got, didn't she get banned from, did she ever get unbanned for that? Or was it just like they gave her a week ban and they never like, that was crazy.
Community guideline warnings, which basically told me that if I kept making that content, then YouTube would have removed my channel. And what made it so much more frustrating was the fact that these channels that I was exposing just continued on fully monetized and not receiving
How far do you have to be?
Punishment. Out of all those people that I exposed, the first person to get punished was me. But as upsetting as that situation was, what's happening here with Max's video is something that I find even more concerning. I mean, age restriction is one thing, but to have your video removed completely with no justification and with no chance to appeal it is something that shouldn't happen under any circumstances. I mean, it really is a shame because those who are on here exposing predators and doing so in a fair and responsible way, just like Max was, deserve to have a platform here and deserve to be celebrated for the work they're doing. And yet all too often it's YouTube who's taking action against these creators. And when they do that, they are not only actively siding with these predators, but they are actively protecting them as well.
YouTube likes to put on this front that they care about their creators, when anybody who's worked in the platform knows it's complete bullshit. The only thing they care about is making money. And if you're seen as a little bit unmarketable or a little bit edgy, you're completely screwed. It doesn't matter if you actually are. The thought of you maybe being that is enough to get you completely screwed. And so what ends up happening is they end up censoring these really important things, like people raising awareness or people investigating things or trying to expose things. They end up
How many times do I have to put on this deep voice?
For you to understand that I'm a gigachad. Oh fuck, my voice changing software broke. Hold on.
There. Now, as I was saying, pedophiles are bad.
Good one.
Censoring them because they're a little bit dark. Imagine outlets not publishing stories or exposés or really hard-hitting things because the subject matter was sensitive. It's just so ridiculous to think about. YouTube pretends to care about their creators when they don't.
The overall problem with YouTube is that it cares more for its public appearance than it does for those who actually make the platform work. Content creators, especially those who focus on investigative reporting, are very often either heavily censored or flat out removed from the website if we, for lack of a better words, get too loud. If we know our place and don't shine a light on the elephant in the room, we are safe. But if we actually do our job, then we are punished.
You know, when we look at YouTube's policies, some of the content that I was making specifically did cover upon people that were actually predatory towards underage people on the internet. And that's a big problem. It's a reality. Whether you go on YouTube, whether you go on Facebook, whether you go on Discord, whether you go on any platform, there's always creepy adults who are willing to use their power and advantage to overpower actual underage individuals. And that's disgusting, and it's actually really sick. And the problem that we have on YouTube is even if you follow all the rules and all the guidelines and you blur every single thing imaginable, you're still potentially facing some level of a privacy guideline strike. And I don't know how it gets handled. Sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't. But even if you attempt to follow every single rule, it seems as though that many of these sites tend to favor and protect a lot of these individuals, even if it is unintentionally. Hell, just look at some of these harassment guidelines. If you even leak out or potentially mention somebody else, you could. It's such a vague terms of service. That
Do you think these people ever even consider contacting any authorities about the people that post videos about? The problem is usually there's not any laws broken, and a lot of the times with this type of investigative shit, people aren't even really discovering anything like noteworthy. They're just like
bringing a friend in for Rust,
finding a few coincidences. It's not really enough to convict anybody on or anything like that. I think that's like the problem we run into a lot. Now that being said, I haven't seen this particular investigation, so maybe something more concrete was discovered. But this whole video, I sympathize with the video's complaints, but the complaints have nothing to do about predators or protecting predators. The issue with this video has to do with YouTube's fucking automated bullshit with how they deal with everything. It's like, yeah, basically making it so that roof and a roof triangle. Trying to automate the fuck out of every single process means that the moderation is going to be fucking ass. And I think everybody knows this, and it's really irritating, but there's nothing you can really do about it. Wow. Wait, is there not another type of roof? I thought there was like a certain type of roof that...
What kind of roof are you thinking about?
I'm trying to make the corners line up.
Fuck the bungalow ship, man. Just make a floor.
What?
Who knows? Somebody may potentially take advantage of it and use it to strike your channel. It feels as though every time you actually try to bring light to something disgusting like this and have it potentially investigated and shut down,
It'll connect, just
you're
place
the
them
bad
both?
guy,
Nice.
Okay? So really, it restricts a lot of people from putting their effort into it. And unfortunately, it feels as though the system is geared against people trying to do actual good, and it seems like the people who are actually the malicious and fucked up people in nature are the ones that may unintentionally get protected with all these new guidelines and privacy issues and all that. But generally, that's the way that I feel about it. I literally had to stop making content because it feels like I was the one being targeted by the lords above, if you will.
I am an investigative journalist, and if YouTube takes that away from me, how am I going to be able to take care of my cat? You'd be taking food out of the mouths of hardworking individuals and putting it into the mouths of pedophiles.
YouTube has never really given a shit about investigative journalism content. I think that's really a given. While YouTube in recent years has tried to be a squeaky clean company that not many people could be offended by, investigative journalism inherently goes into topics that are controversial or require a lot of depth to get into. It doesn't really matter if these investigative pieces could actually help real law enforcement with actual crimes, which is why some small investigative journalism channels are being taken down, because YouTube thinks people won't notice. We need to show them that we do, and that if they continue to do it, it's going to look look bad on them as a company for all of us.
What worries me about the state of YouTube isn't just how it seems to prioritize mainstream media over investigative journalism or independent journalism, but also how it takes these concepts that it uses to soft censor commentators and it applies it to the rest of YouTube. Just as a film analyst and reviewer myself, there's a lot of censoring that I have to do on my own channel. I love the platform of YouTube, but I don't feel like it supports my own free speech, and I think that a lot of discussions are stifled because we creators feel like there are just things that we cannot talk about. This is how we've been conditioned.
I definitely don't think it's great that YouTube sometimes removes content that exposes pedophiles and animal abusers. I understand that YouTube has strict advertisement guidelines, but a lot of dark content creators and investigative channels are truly facing negative repercussions. Hopefully YouTube is willing to work on this sensitive issue and make changes that are better for the community.
My name is Jay Boston. I've been a voice actor for Mama Max for a couple of years at this point. With the takedown of his most recent video, you can't really help but begin to theorize that although the method of delivery is unique, it still acts as this campaign of awareness against individuals on the internet that are engaging in felonious acts such as pedophilia and grooming. And with YouTube's consistent censorship and suppression
hold on. So first of all, pedophilia is not an act, I don't think. Also, is grooming technically illegal? Is there like a charge for grooming, or is it like sexual assault with grooming, or what is that even like? I'm only asking because you said felonious acts. I don't know if there's like a criminal charge for grooming. I know that's how we describe an adult courting a minor. Oh, fuck me.
You can't help but ask the question, why?
Child grooming is a federal crime? What does child grooming mean? It seems like it would be really hard to prove, like for a federal crime. Criminal penalties for grooming. If you're convicted of unlawful grooming, it's a class 3 felony. Oh, it must be a thing. Interesting.
Who tries to bring more attention to sensitive and dark subjects in the online realm. I also feel neglected and let down by YouTube. Max is one of many creators on the platform that supports YouTube in their quest to fight against the exploit of minors. YouTube is doing themselves no favor by striking and deleting content, exposing the same problem they are trying to fix. Max's videos contain months of work to collect as much evidence as possible. YouTube thanks him by making his life as hard as possible by not communicating, deleting his videos, and striking his channel.
Listen, they took the same test.
Alright, it's a stupid fucking meme.
Oh, the donut. Oh man, stop.
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
Oh, I was about to ban you guys. Wait, what is this? Oh no.
I'm here to talk to you today. Suck my clout, trolling, one of the greatest problems that our generations are facing. The biggest scourge that affects our society. Against all of the cultural and social progress we've seen is the battle against intellectual thought.
Bro, literally, I'm here, dude.
Are you guys comfortable with that? This is a war against critical thinking, a battle against intellectualism. This is a war against rational behavior. And we're not even aware of it. And that's terrifying. Woo. Bruh. So Too Mad, who is known for memeing, usually, wrote this in response, and I thought, this is a bit, right? Like, because it's Too Mad. At first, I thought it was a meme, and so I DM'd him, like, are you okay? Like,
I just hit it with like a little bit of facts, and I wake up, Destiny gives me a retweet.
oh, he's going. I know you want to say you were just pretending, but we all know government balances decisions for economy all the time is on, but you imply compromised government by corporations, so to be honest, I clapped you up a bit. Chill with the Trump pandemic misinformation for a week, yes, unlock. Okay, now I'm gonna go fucking balls to the wall.
This is 1000% for clout. Suck my cock, you irrelevant bitch. Okay, straight up, that is bait. Straight up, that is fucking clout. That 1000% is for fucking clout. No, he absolutely got fucking boosted, and now he's just fucking trolling, and now he is 100% doing this for fucking clout. Okay, we're done. Just come on the stream, jackass. Here, dude. Here, you want to fucking come on the stream? Go ahead.
Okay, so Hassan says, get on the stream. And then what happens? He's watching surgery on a grape. He's watching fucking MasterChef. There's content here.
I don't like this. He's just trolling you bullshit, dude. That's such silly baby shit for the record, okay? Oh, he's just trolling. He's just trolling. Oh, okay, dude, I got it. You can just troll and fucking spread misinformation. Got it. Get on the stream. You've been begging to be on the stream. Pull up. It's weird that all of a sudden he's not.
So
you don't want to come on the stream?
And you say, tell me to come on the stream. Doesn't let me on. Doesn't let me on. Bruh. I'm in his Discord. I invited him to my Discord. I'm sitting here waiting for the shit to happen. You're begging me to come on your stream. You're beating ass.
You're being straight up delusional at the moment.
Calls me delusional. I'm delusional. You fucking idiot. You're calling me psychotic for just pointing out what you're doing.
My clout extends to you too, Mad. If you have a good point of view, don't try to fucking hide behind. Don't try to hide behind other people. You pathetic little coward.
I'm sitting here like, where the fuck are you at? He tells me to come on the stream and then he watches MasterChef.
Right ingredients, the right pairing.
Oh my god, this is literally the most wishy-washy washing machine you've ever fucking witnessed in your life.
You're doing the same thing.
Now let me be clear. Fumat is the realest American.
What Trump supporters did, when they called it a pandemic, they said the CDC and Fauci were in the pockets of big pharma. Look where that got us.
Wait, what? Oh, there's music now? Sorry, I finished the research. My bad. Jesus.
Trump supporters did, when they called it a pandemic, they said the CDC and Fauci were in the pockets of big pharma. Look where that got us. Bro, you are so fucking brain dead. I'm the one who's saying Trump pandemic. Trump pandemic is literally what the fucking CDC is doing currently. I think people have lost their fucking plot.
But he doesn't like it when I say pandemic, even though it's the same thing. Like you're implying that the corporations have influence. It's conspiracy theory, though. Hassan be the new CDC, by the way. And look, and then the DMs, he DMs me, he literally admits that it's just speculation. Man, how the fuck are you this? And then he'll say it's a meme. It's a meme. What's 40k likes? And then you'll watch Snkrx stream where he's getting like fucking 30k gambling his fucking Bobucks. And then he'll say some cringe like, yo, you're using your platform irresponsibly. So the fuck are you?
Oh, he's just straight up trying to get fucking Destiny on here. Yeah, he can suck my dick.
This thing will not touch Destiny. He's scared of Destiny. Destiny, little dude, 5 foot. No, I wouldn't even touch him. We'll talk to actual epidemiologists, no experts. Not even too mad. Bro, Ethan Klein just chimed in. Yo, Ethan is texting Hassan to fucking debate me. Look at this. Ethan Kleiner literally texted Hassan. He's still fucking. Oh my god, speak to me, you fuck.
This shit's gonna be so funny when it bites their ass later. No, it's not gonna be funny because we will have moved on to the next controversy. Oh boy.
Who fucking cares what you moved on to? You're spreading misinformation.
Just be like, you're wrong, you're wrong.
Let's see if he bans me. No ban.
Okay, let's get back to the Cowboys.
He's watching fucking Cowboys? There's no fucking way. He's an absolute pussball, though.
These stupid fucking memes.
Come on stream 10 times. Literally not even 10. It was twice. Okay, I'm shameless, but I asked. Bring me on the 40,000 viewers, dude. So I can own you. Imagine getting owned by a guy with a bra emoji. What is this? He replied.
You think if I stop right now to go fucking debate on memes that were popping 3 hours ago?
3 hours? I love that it's online. That was 3 hours ago, bro. We've moved on, okay? It was a 3. Imagine talking about something that happened 3 hours ago, bro.
You think these people are gonna be happy?
Ooh, you pussy! You pussy! Oh my god, he's putting me in the same spot as Destiny. He's like, oh my god, I'm scared. He's so good at making like the most bitch-made, scared ass sound cool.
Memes that were popping 3 hours ago?
It's not memes. He calls it memes because it gives him an out. I'm not giving you an out. I came for your head.
Should I debate Too Mad instead of watching MasterChef?
Yes, you should. I'm too mad. I'm literally retarded. He's less retarded than you. And he's banning people in his chat at mass.
I'm the one who's fucking saying Trump pandemic?
Yes, you are. You're implying it was profits prioritized over the well-being of the country?
Trump pandemic is literally what the fucking CDC is doing currently.
Okay, so there, he's self-reported, right? Like that's conspiratorial meme. You literally just like, guys, I'm not a conspiracy theory. It's really actually the way I see it. The guy with the bra emoji avatar, the dumbass, even knows this, and he's telling me I will not approach this. I'm gonna go play fucking Halo 1. It'd be fine if it was like in an actual like echo chamber, but your echo chamber includes like hundreds of thousands of people. Unfortunately, keep preaching, my guy. Dude, I'm heartbroken. Hopefully I get that debate one day. We will meme in the meantime.
Data mad debate time.
Yes! Cracker. What the fuck? That's a horrible word.
Master Chef time. Dude, what the fuck? Link me that. That's exactly what the fuck just happened.
Okay. Jesus. Do you think Hassan watched that video today on stream? Hassan is in his Discord fucking typing out that I doxed him because I put a screenshot of like the third fucking mainstream article that was published about him buying a $3 million WeHo house, okay? I don't know how the fuck that counts as doxing. I don't know why the fuck dipshits like Ludwig would repeat that as doxing. This constant like demonization of me and my like community or whatever, of being like these crazy boogeymen, like you guys have fan bases that eclipse mine. Like this guy will go, I'm trying to imagine, and like this is my problem with Hassan. So one, I can't even talk about him that much because if I do, I get called obsessed. So Hassan has this very special kind of like lefty protection on YouTube or on Twitch, whereas for any other figure, I could criticize them relentlessly, which is whatever. I don't care. I don't need to talk about his horrendously dog shit political opinions because there's a ton of other things to talk about, and I want to play League of Legends, okay? So my problem, though, is that, like, where do I start, okay? I just want to just one time, okay? I'm just going to one time it because we don't normally, because I just don't normally, but I will this time, okay? Hassan has had probably one of the easiest lives to live in the history, all of lives to have lived across the entirety of existence. I hold my tongue when people do the thing where they're like, oh, like, so just because you are, just because you're a socialist means that you have to be poor. Nobody's saying that you have to be poor when you're a socialist. But Hassan does not live like a middling person struggling under capitalism or being oppressed by capitalism. Hassan is literally living the most impressive, most capitalistic, most hyper disgusting consumeristic life that has ever happened in like all of what you can do. Like the constant fucking showing off of the clothes, the obsession with porn stars, I dated a porn star, I go to the adult video things, I'm donating thousands of dollars to porn. He's donated more money to porn stars on Twitch than he's made like political campaign contributions. You can look it up. It's all public info, okay? Like from going to like living in the US to living in Turkey to moving all over the world because his family will pay for him to live wherever, to getting the job at his uncle's fucking like political area, to making friends on Twitch and then moving into politics here, and then to exploding on Twitch by watching other people's fucking 90-day fiance videos and shit, to do all of that, right? And then to get into these positions where now he's making like millions of dollars after streaming for like 2 years, okay? In my opinion, I think that's great. If you can do it all, that's fine. I celebrate that, okay? But to do all of that and then to like turn and be like, fuck celebrities. I don't think that they should have this much money, or fuck Jeff Bezos, blah blah blah. When I watch this whole fan base switch to the fuck billionaires, millionaires are okay, and then they compare like, well, Hassan has as much money as Bernie Sanders, so it's the same thing. Destiny's literally doing the can't criticize capitalism because you participate in a bit. Yeah, so I'll keep repeating this argument because I notice that some people it's starting to stick, which I'm happy. So we have like this paradigm that we can exist in where over here we have absolute abject misery because we're trying to fight a system that we live in. And then over here we have an absolute like submission to that system where we're living our fullest life. So when people use that argument like, oh, just because I'm in a system, can't mean I critique it, that's absolutely true. If you're like an auto worker, you're making like fucking $32,000 a year or some shit, backbreaking labor, and you're sitting here saying like, fuck capitalism, this is some bullshit. And somebody points out, yo, motherfucker, you shop at Walmart. How the fuck are you gonna critique capitalism when you're paying off the Waltons, right? Well, this guy's like down here, like his life is pretty fucked. He doesn't have very much room to fight against the system, right? Like this guy's not going to be doing much to protest capitalism when he's like barely surviving, like under the oppressive thumb of such system. It's one thing for a person down here to defend themselves with that argument. Like, well, I can critique a system I live in. I have no choice but to live this way. But it's something different to live up here, the best capitalist life you possibly can, making the most money, signing contracts with the evilest people that you criticize on a daily basis. Like, what is more commercially safe yet more anti-capitalist than criticizing Jeff Bezos and then signing exclusivity contracts with his company where you run additional advertisements towards your audience to maximize the amount of money that you make. Like, what is more hilarious than that? When you exist up here at this upper end and somebody's like, isn't it kind of weird that like you criticize capitalism yet you participate in it? And you're like, oh, here's that one comic, by the way. Well, if you're going to defend yourself with that comic, then technically you're saying literally every single aspect of capitalism is defensible, because now Bezos can use that comment. Any politician could use that comic. Any dictator, any imperialist, any part of the government, like literally everybody at that point can use that comic. That comic is oftentimes rolled out as a way to defend the innumerable leftists that have the hidden Patreons that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes a month, in order to shield themselves from all criticism. The reality is that these people are lazy. They love capitalism and they're living their best lives in capitalism, and they provide lazy critiques, oftentimes without any policy suggestions of their own, because they've been safely subsumed by a capitalist system and they've been safely, inoculated inside of it? There's not inoculated, it's another word. Recuperated inside of it such that they can give commercially safe critiques while making a fuck ton of money doing it.
Let's go. Consumption on this level is disgusting, and a fixation with even the slimmest possible chance of living like this is what leads to millions of Bezos stands and capitalism defenders. Even as the planet boils, we are sick. True. It doesn't make sense because, like, all of that shit is not gonna make you happy.
For these people to reach these levels and then to turn around and then to try to say that they experience like this unmitigated, unprecedented harassment from my community, like, dog, harassment to you is getting downvoted on LSF, okay? Harassment to me is like, it's a whole other level, okay? We're not the same, as the meme goes. Not to say that I'm sure Hassan has probably gotten harassment in the past. Sure, I'm sure that's happened, okay? But for a guy that literally defended calling me like a fucking gusano in front of 50,000 people to cry.
Oh, wait, so is he just doing Destiny content?
And be like, oh my God, I'm so offended that people are using the term gusano, a term that most people had to fucking Google immediately after I fucking mentioned it for the first time ever. And it's actually certainly not political and can only be used against Cubans. And it's not just a catch-all fucking term that a lot of leftist Latin Americans use against people that they perceive to be like capitalist, anti-imperialist, counter-revolutionaries. I'm so offended. I'm so offended.
What?
It's just the same shit. This dude literally just uses social justice and people of color as a fucking prop just to like be like, I'm so offended on behalf of everyone else. He's no different than he's the edgy SJW with fucking blue hair, okay? That's all he is.
Because I tweeted out that it was funny that he bought a $3 million Playboy mansion in fucking West Hollywood while wearing a shirt that says "Make the Rich Pay." Like, calm the fuck on, dude. That is so rich, okay? Get the fuck over yourself, all right? You're a beautiful person, okay? You've got all the money in the world. You go to the most expensive fucking Equinox fucking whatever $1,000 a year membership gym, okay? You've got the most aesthetically pleasing fucking political opinion possible. You're networked out the ass of all the people. Like, let me do my little fucking memes on Twitch. Let me tweet my little fucking things or whatever, okay? I don't understand like the insane amount of victimization that happens whenever anybody has any type of like engagement with me. It is actually so unbelievably fucking pathetic, okay? Like, Jesus Christ. I'm trying to imagine like, so like in my position, so if I say that Hassan gets probably like, I haven't checked the stats, but it's like anywhere from 20 to 40,000 viewers generally. And I'll get anywhere from like 3 to 5,000 viewers generally, depending on what I'm doing, depending on how much League I'm playing, right? I'm trying to think, this would be like me going online and crying about like one 300 view streamer and how like that 300 view streamer is like, oh my God, this person is harassing me so much. Meanwhile, all of these guys like perpetuate the exact same narratives that have people constantly fucking shitting on me, right? Like so much so that when I try to do like real life political activism shit, I get fucking destroyed for it, right? And I sink a lot of money into it and I actually fucking care about it. It's not just a grift for me. It's not just whatever is the most aesthetically pleasing thing, right? Like again, I'm not trying to victimize myself. I try not to do this a lot, okay? But like, I've been banned from a lot of platforms. I've gotten heat in that I've lost sponsors, and I've gotten like pressure from advertisers. Like, I've gotten like departnered on this fucking website. Like, I've had a lot of shit happen to me as a result of like my 12 years being here, because of admittedly some crazy shit I've said and some things I've involved in, but largely because of other communities that fucking hate me, okay? When I have to deal with like all of these communities that are like religiously, and we'll talk about this a little bit later with the Dylan stuff, with Maddie faking screenshots about like my community doxing her and like all this shit. Like, when these people that are already doing so well, right? You're making millions of dollars. You've got other 30, 50,000 viewer friend streamers. You're doing so well, to get so mad because they have a couple of threads go poorly for them on LSF. Like, are you actually fucking kidding me? Like, fuck off. Like, I can't even think of a comparison. It would be like Bruce Wayne in the Joker movie, like complaining about something about the Joker. I don't know. Like, holy shit, it is so unbelievable to me. And it is unbelievably frustrating. Like, the thing that is the most frustrating, there's like 20 things that are the most frustrating, is that Hassan always knew that, one, he wasn't going to be able to hide this house. You knew this, right? Like, there's no way that you're hiding the fact that you're buying a $3 million fucking mansion, okay? It's not for your mom. Shut the fuck up. Don't fucking lie, okay? It's to bring over porn stars to impress them so you can fuck them. That's why you're buying a $3 million mansion, okay? No mom tells her son, oh, honey, just one day I want to grow up in West Hollywood. Please, shut the fuck up. Nobody believes that shit, okay? There's no way that you could have bought this $3 million house thinking that nobody would have any fucking idea, like, that you bought the house. There were already articles published in fucking Breitbart. I think there might have been some coverage on Fox, and that Dirt website is owned by like fucking is it fucking Vanity or whatever? I have to. Oh, or not Vanity. I'm sorry, Variety. Like, people were gonna know that when you moved. Okay, like, Jesus Christ. So own it. If you want to do something like that, then fucking own it. Okay. Don't be a little baby bitch and cry, oh, somebody found out that I moved into a fucking... Just fucking own it, okay? You're a shameless fucking sellout, okay, that just wants to live the most richest fucking capitalist-infused, consumerist-obsessed lifestyle. I've never actually said this before, but I say this a lot. When I talk about how, like, it's crazy how many, like, beautiful, like, wealthy people there are behind the scenes that are fucking miserable. You can ask Melina. Hassan was always one of the first people that came to mind, right? You are the most, like, hyper-consumerist fucking person on this whole platform. If you want to live that life, then fucking do it. I don't give a fuck. But don't turn around and get so fucking mad when people are like, wait, hold on, bro. Wait, the guy that wears the Anarchy shirts is moving to WeHo?
So it was the purchasing of a house in West Hollywood that like made people upset, I guess. Like, everyone knows I've been publicly living in West Hollywood for a long ass time.
That's kind of weird, right? Just chill, okay? Or if you want to attack me and fight me on like political grounds or whatever, then that's fine. You can say like I have garbage political opinions, like, you know, whatever shit. Yeah, do that. But don't sit here and say like I doxed you. Like, calm the fuck on, bro. I understand that you've had a really easy life. Your entire life has probably been incredibly fucking easy. I understand you've had an easy time in politics and an easy time on Twitch. But like, just because your time has been so easy doesn't mean that as soon as you like have somebody type LOL at you on Twitter, you can start throwing around words like I got doxed. Yeah. Oh, and yeah. Just on the final thing of that, like. Again, the worst thing that, and if, by the way, if people see my community do bad things, I will ban them, okay? If they see it happen, I will ban people to do that, okay? For you to claim that my community does horrible things, I've never seen anybody show that ever. Where is my community doing this crazy shit, right? And if it does happen, show me and I'll ban them. But two, like, you guys constantly empower your communities to, like, engage in this insane level of fucking hatred towards me, such that you guys are, like, DMing, like, local political people that I work with. That lady that worked for, it was Samara? I'm trying to remember. It was one of the two black ladies, one of her campaigns. The reason why she started posting shit was because somebody randomly on the internet DM'd that to her. They didn't do the research on their own. Somebody DM'd it to her, to one of the campaign managers, and that's how they found out. It might have been Kamara Snipes' manager. Something that I'd ask of you guys is, if you, because I don't really want to talk about this publicly because so many people shitpost on social media, so I'm trying to like find a balance, but now obviously with statements being posted and stuff, we have to be very public. My only request for you guys is, do not debate people in comments, ever. Instead of attacking positions, always post positives. Always post positives. Always be relentlessly positive. Like boom, 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 boom. That's it. So like right now, you know, like some guy is, so this Riley guy fucking hates me, right? It's being like, oh, Destiny advocated assault against sexual assault survivors, blah, 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 blah. Instead of like, oh, you know, like instead of getting on and it's like, oh, well, that tweet was 6 years ago. It was a different time on the internet, blah, blah. Instead be like, Destiny doesn't believe in this kind of stuff at all. Like here are some prior videos, like Destiny was responsible for outing, you know, like, or reviewing, you know, sexual harassment claims in the gaming community. Like he had huge streams where he was going over and talking to victims and blah, blah, blah. Like always keep everything relentlessly positive. If you're going to engage, never, ever, ever get caught in the weeds, like debating on like shit that I said like 5 or 6 years ago. Don't ever, 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 ever do that. Always be positive. Like, hey, like Gudgel is, you know, like these are Gudgel's policies. These are what Gudgel believes. Or like, hey, like Steven doesn't believe this thing. Like this is what Steven believes, blah, 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 blah. Always be positive. Always be positive. Always be positive.
I don't think I'm trying to denigrate Mark's campaign. I'm trying.
Of course
I think
you
I'm
are.
trying to denigrate you as a person. Because,
Then why are you calling on? Then why are you tweeting,
person.
calling on Mark to drop out of the race?
Because I think there's better candidates.
So then you are, but you won't name any of those better candidates, and also then you are denigrating Mark's campaign. Thank you. You walked back like 3 or 4 different things in this conversation.
Let's talk about Vosh.
Why do you want to
What's
talk
up
about
with that?
Vosh? That's the farthest removed
Let's
I can
talk
think
about
of
that.
from any local Omaha political thing.
Let's talk about that. That's weird. Why'd you do that?
All right. Well, I'm guessing you don't want to talk about Omaha anymore.
Yeah, I'll talk about Omaha. Let's talk about Omaha. Let's talk about Omaha.
I don't really want to talk about other like e-celebs. It sounds a little grifty to me.
No, let's talk about Omaha. That's why I'm moving off of Bosch.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about Omaha?
So
I'd rather just go. So it's not about my fans hating you, right? It's more just like honestly.
No, they do. They do.
Yeah, they do. But I don't care about that. This is just a waste of time for me because I'm like truly curious at the end of the day what drives people like you to have such an incredibly negative existence and to represent like such toxicity online in the world. So I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, absolutely you do. Like you yeah, you want? I can explain if you want, or you don't have to.
No, yeah, do it.
Yeah,
I'm
it seems like you don't
because,
have any
honestly,
strong positive feelings.
I'm a Hassan fan. I like Hassan Biker.
I don't know why you want to talk about other Twitch celebs so much.
No, let's talk about. We'll talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't understand why somebody like you is so destructive online when it comes to political figures, but you don't seem to have any positive support for anybody else. It's like you only exist to like hurt or harm people.
I do, but I'm not going to talk about them because it's
so you only want to contribute negativity
wheel.
online. Yeah, you only want to contribute negativity. Do you think this might be like a bigger problem that we have with politics? In the
honestly,
United States?
I don't want our mayor to organize with someone who wants to advocate who wants to. I don't want my mayor to associate with someone who uses the N-word openly.
Sure. Would you rather a mayor that associates with somebody like me, or would you rather another 4 years of Stothert who obsessively supports the police?
No,
and the expansion of schools?
I would absolutely vote for Gudgel over someone like Stothert.
That's cool. So then why would you do something to damage Gudgel's campaign?
There's a whole fucking bunch of candidates. There's a whole fucking bunch of candidates who don't fucking use the N-word for white.
So then why not support some of those candidates positively instead of dedicating so much negative attention and time to another candidate? Really? But you won't talk about any of them.
I won't, because it's fucking, you're going to use it negatively against me.
How am I going to use it negatively against you?
Because you want a guy in the primary who's different than the fucking person who I want.
Yeah, but notice how I'm not obsessively shitting
and
on any other candidate.
Your fans. It's me against you and your fans. It's me against you and your fans.
My fans aren't involved in this, and it's not even me against you.
We're
not verse each other in anything.
You fucking pay for their hotels. I've said that already.
My fans aren't going out to attack anybody. All we're doing is knocking on doors and making the people of Omaha aware of a certain candidate. That's all I want to do. I want people in my city to know that Mark is running for mayor. That's it.
You're so fucking disingenuous. It's like, it's insane.
Okay, well, it's been a fun conversation. I would say
pull your dick out and say you're Hassan's baby boy.
First of all, how do you even know that I have a penis? It's kind of a weird assumption.
Pull your dick out.
Right, number one. So that's so you're already kind of that's already like a little bit weird. Okay.
Baby boy.
Number two, right? I don't know.
Pull your dick out.
I don't know why you wouldn't just have a more
Wave
positive
it around
impact in your local political scene
and say you're Hassan's baby boy.
rather than just contributing to like relentless negativity online. It seems really sad. And I'm like a little bit personally bothered by it because I see it happening like on a local level in my city where I kind of didn't think that stuff was necessarily this bad. I guess it's something that I'm just a little bit disappointed in. My community does have a big presence online, okay? There is a reason why that is, all right? That's because I'm a fucking nerd on the internet. I like to argue politics. I like to play video games. That's what I do. And it's always been like that. So my community grew because I, in the beginning, participated a lot in my community. And I still do participate a lot in my community. Most of the people that you hear me talking to and shit on stream are from my community. It's people like Mr. Moot and Dan and shit. Or fucking Rage Pope. Or, you know, like that. This is what I've done for a long time, okay? For a lot of streamers, they hate their fucking audience. They stream to you guys, and then as soon as they're done, they go backstage, and then they hang out with their other popular streamer friends, and they will never fucking interact with you ever, because you're, like, disgusting, like, plebeian, cretin, like filth to them. That's how they view you, the proletariat, okay? They're the bourgeois, okay? They go to the back, they hang out with their popular, famous streamer friends, and that's all they give a fuck about. Now, if you want to act like that, that's cool, you can do that, but don't fucking cry then when you have subreddits on the internet with, you know, 10,000 subs and nobody active, or when nobody fucking does anything on the internet because you haven't done anything to, like, actually grow or foster a community, all right? People complain that there's a huge overlap between my subreddit and LSF. That's true, but that's because there's no other subreddit to have an overlap with. No other streamers have active subreddits. That's not my fault. However, just because I have an active subreddit, a lot of the people that complain about my community have like 10 times the audience that I do, okay? Like, again, Hassan, and the way that we interact with these subreddits is so different. You cannot post LSF anywhere on my community. You can't post it on my Discord, the link will get auto-muted. You can't post it on my DGG chat, your link will get auto-muted. And I don't think you can post it on my Twitch chat, you'll get auto-banned. I didn't know this, but I thought that applied to everybody. Apparently other people will just post LSF threads right into fucking Twitch chat on like a sound stream and shit. I don't go through LSF threads on my stream like, oh, this guy said something mean, guys. It's really mean, right? Oh, downvote, that guy said, right? I don't go through fucking LSF threads on my fucking stream. And if you look at the actual stats, if you go through the actual fucking stats, okay, I'm like the 15th most posted person. Guess who's number 3, okay? Oh, 3's Miskip. Number 4 is Hassan, all right? Like, these people will be on LSF constantly for, like, no offense, but for the most boring, random, stupid fucking shit. And then they'll turn around like, oh no, Destiny talked to XQC. He's got like 9 threads up. Like,
Destiny's take on Futa. Oh, I didn't, dude. It's like when XQC and Destiny merged, it's like the 2 most active Reddit communities. Literally, Destiny sneezed on the XQC stream. Destiny was an anti-vax family. XQC destroys Destiny. On stream 5 minutes to 10 clips on LSF. How did this happen, I wonder?
For like 1 day. Like, who the fuck cares? Yeah, it's just, it's so annoying because, it's annoying because, like, I don't play the LSF game. And I don't. You can go and look at my fucking viewer fucking stats. I play League, okay? I'm on the Sigma grind set for Masters this season. That's all I fucking want, okay? But like XQC will have like 18 like Cheeto threads daily, or every time Hassan talks to a girl, there'll be another thread, or every time Mizkif's door opens in the background, there'll be like another fucking there'll be another thread or whatever, right? Like, I don't game LSF constantly like these people do. Why does Destiny hate LSF so much? I don't hate LSF. LSF is just some shit that I read that's kind of funny. That's it. But I read it off stream. I don't obsess over it online. But the problem is anytime these guys ever get downvoted on LSF, or there's like an unpopular opinion, or no, there's an opinion about them that they don't like that gets popular on LSF, they blame like my community. They're like, oh my god, that's the DGGers. And then you get these like clueless dipshits like Ludwig being like, oh yeah, like I'm really scared of DGG. Scared of what, motherfucker? What the fuck are you talking about? My community has like no overlap with your whole section of like clout hungry fucking streamers on the internet. Like, I don't know if it's Ludwig talking or if it's fucking Cutie, whatever dipshit talking through him because she's still like besties with Caseytron. But like, bro, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I understand maybe you want to simp for like your fellow big streamer Hassan, but like, this is clearly not your wheelhouse. Like, fuck off. Don't try to invoke like Amaranth's house on fire shit to Hassan's house that he doesn't even live in yet, being fucking found out by like mainstream publications because $3 million buys are like really well known. Like, Hassan should buy it with a trust, buy it with an LLC, get like a third party, figure out another way to do it. Like, don't fucking cry because some other fucking journalistic thing found it. And then my tweet that got like 1/5 as many likes as you have concurrent viewers. My tweet had like 6,000, 7,000 likes. You have 35,000 viewers and you think that I'm the problem? Get the fuck out of here, okay? Fuck off with that bullshit. God, that's so fucking stupid. Yeah, or hey, since you have so much money, hire some security. Spread the wealth a little bit, okay? Spread the wealth. Do you want to address the dumb fucks missing the point that you don't care? Oh, I thought it was a funny meme. I literally, because Ludwig was like, you don't care? Well, obviously you care. Yeah, somebody said this is like the modern days you mad bro, right?
Make the rich pay shirt and then the house. Which you know, he's not the man who posted the story, but that's the thing that originally doxed him. It's just weird to say I don't care when you're the first person to post the tweet, even if it's a dunk. I mean, you got to care somewhat. He's acting like the news just landed on his desk.
I don't really care that much. That's why I only tweeted it with an LOL. I didn't think I tweeted something later, like an hour later. You guys are the ones that got super fucking ass mad. I always think it's funny when like socialist people get really fucking rich and start buying crazy shit while also pretending to be poor like you.
Dude, this is like unimaginable wealth, dude. How the fuck do people make this much money? $2.9 million near Las Vegas? Dude, oh my fucking lord, dude. You can buy a fucking castle in Las Vegas.
So he's just pretending to be one of us? Like he's pretending to be broke?
That's always been funny for me. Now, I know for a lot of these other people, they don't follow any of my shit. They don't know what the fuck I talk about ever, okay? But I've made fun of people doing this forever. I made fun of Philosophy Tube Abigail when she was like, we're not gonna pay our rent to our greedy landlord. Motherfucker, you make like £300,000 a year. What the fuck are you talking about? Not gonna pay your fucking rent. Like, you're actually like affected by this, you know? And so, and it's the same thing with the son. I made fun of him in the past too, like, oh, I could never, like, I just have a Toyota Camry, guys. Like, you and me, we're the same. Like, I went to Equinox and the Hispanic guy looked at me and he was like, yeah, hey, bro, or I don't even, wait, I'm Hispanic, so I can make a Jackson, right? When he's like, oh, the janitor was like, I love Bernie Sanders, man, like A+, dude. Like, come on, dude, that shit is funny to me, okay? That shit is funny to me. But that's like an LOL passing comment funny, okay? I didn't know that it was gonna be like, this is what the internet is gonna talk about for the next 4 fucking days, okay? When I tweeted this, I was actually upset. Yeah, oh, me gusta Bernie Sanders, oh, mucho. Like, Jesus fuck. Dude, that was the cringiest fucking story I've ever heard in my entire life. Oh my god. Jesus. What was I saying? Oh, I was actually kind of sad when I tweeted out the LOL because I thought that I already